Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The following is a world-class bullshitters exclusive.
So we are live here on WCBS on a Wednesday. I know, it's rare. But tonight I'm joined by two awesome fellow collectors, and we're going to be talking about toys and whatever else comes up organically. First off, I'd like to introduce one of my guests tonight. Say hello to LaserPants.
Hey, what's up, Jeff? Thanks for having me on, man. It's good to
Always
be back
a pleasure, man.
on World Class Bullshitters.
It's been a while, but yeah, happy to have you. And up next, we're also joined by another member of 3POA's channel from the Loose But Complete show. Say hello to Jeremy, aka Authority Figure.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing in the chat today? Jeff, appreciate you having me on the channel, man. It's first time being on here.
Well, welcome, man. Big fan of what you guys do. Love the toy content, and you know, for as much as I enjoy what we do here on the channel, the guys don't collect that much. So I feel like if I get something new and I'm super excited, it's, oh, that's cool, man, or cool. They'll get something, and that's about it. There's no deeper conversation. So tonight is one of those streams that I'm excited to be here for, because we get to talk about one of my favorite hobbies, toys.
Yeah,
So
it's an interesting hobby to say the least. It's you know, I have a lot of fun doing it, but at the same time, when you know, like my collection room is in the basement, so when a plumber has to come to do some work down here, and and they see, you know, well, it doesn't look like much right now, but you know, when I had everything up, you know, and you have a stranger come in and they're like, whoa, you know, it's a very interesting feeling when somebody else sees.
It's like,
I guess
that's a lot of toys. Where do you keep the bodies?
I think it's the same feeling like when the camera crews finally, like when they first show up on an episode of Hoarders, you know, it's got to be the feeling that those people have.
well, at least you're both married, so it's like, try explaining this to like women when you're like, oh, come on over and hang out. Why do I have the Ghostbusters and Spider-Man and all this crap around me? So it's never really caused a problem, but it's still one of those things that you always have to, like, I don't know. It's like having a brother that lives with you that's a mooch. You always have to explain it away. So
I don't even know how I would approach that if I was single again. Like, I would, man, my heart goes out to you, Jeff. I don't know what I would do.
Well, you got to find, you know, it's interesting when you break that. It's kind of like it's as far as like dating is concerned, it's almost like telling a really, really dark secret, you know, that this is my hobby. And you know, my current wife, or my wife, sorry, there's been a couple of Mrs. Jernigans, but anyway,
because of the toys.
Yeah. Well, the military lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like it's rough. So, but you know, I told her, she was like, oh, well, that's interesting. But then on my first, my first birthday that we had while we were, you know, dating, she got me a carded Jar Jar from Power of the Force 2 because she knows how much I hate Jar Jar and the prequels in general. So that was kind of like her little gift. I guess, like, hey, I'm cool with this. Here you go. So
in college, I had a girlfriend, and I had bought like all the Indiana Jones stuff from the 2008 line, and I just kind of had it sitting in my dorm. And she's like, "Oh, do you play with dolls?" And I'm like, "No, I just like Indiana Jones." And she kind of left it alone. But then my buddy bought me that big Millennium Falcon from Hasbro, that 2008 one, and she got mad for some reason that I had that. It just sat on I had like a mini fridge in my dorm, and I just put the Millennium Falcon on there. She just like walk by and look at it and give it like the meanest look. So it wasn't meant to be. If you got a problem with the Millennium Falcon, we cannot be.
That thing was massive. I used to have one of those. That thing was...
It was a 2008. Which one? there's like a blank spot in my memory as far as like Millennium Falcon stuff.
It was
goes
like
for,
the Legacy collection. It was like 3 feet long or something like that. Like it was huge. Yeah, it was huge.
It's the best Star Wars toy for me. Like
Yeah.
the cockpit actually held 4 figures. It had all the lights and everything that was in the movie was in this ship. And it even had 2 guns. Because when I was a kid, for some reason it bothered me that the old, well, mine was Power of the Force too, but the Kenner mold only had 1 cannon on the top. And I was like, maybe if I could get another one and glue it to the bottom, it would work. But
yeah,
you know, that was just me being a stickler for detail.
I saw a guy on Instagram that he actually did one in the 1/12 scale. He did it in Black Series scale, and this thing, I mean, first of all, kudos to you. You know, the amount of time that went into it, and it looked really, really good too. It didn't look like it was, you know, some kind of cheap, you know, me and my kid did this in the garage in 20 minutes, you know, type of deal. But it's you know, those poker tables that are like hexagon, you know, shaped. It would take up that amount of room right there. But you could put all the cast members inside the cockpit just like they were in the movie. You know, Han and Chewie up front with 3PO and Leia and stuff in there. So it was really cool.
Do you guys remember a couple years back? There was a Hot Toys like display in Japan, and they built a to scale Millennium Falcon for like that display.
Yeah,
or, sorry, not Japan, Hong Kong, and they had all the stormtroopers. It was just the scene from the Death Star. I was like, when is this coming out? When can I mortgage my home to get this thing? So I wanted that one, the 1/6 scale Falcon.
You need a 2-car garage for that thing. My buddy Alex does have an in scale, like a Hot Toy scale cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. It's made by a company called Jazz Inc. It's got lights, super detailed. It's like Hot Toys quality. It's huge. Just the cockpit is massive. It's like you need a dining room table for the damn thing.
Yeah.
You know, and you also need like a couple grand. But
I mean,
they make big stuff.
You talked about this hobby that we've picked. It's not a cheap hobby. It'll break your heart. You can also, ride these emotional highs if you get a good deal. But overall, it's like you're going to spend a lot to get what you want. Like if you're going to get a complete set, if you're going to get like back a HasLab project or some of those things, you're going to put some serious money into this. So that was one of the things when I moved from California. I made sure I didn't care about my clothes as much. I cared about my electronics, but I made sure my collectibles made the trip like super safe. And I categorized everything. It's like this box has SH Figure Arts and this, and I made sure it all got here safely. Because I mean, I care about real things. Don't get me wrong, but I love my collectibles, man. I wouldn't want to let them go. I would hate to have to sell them off.
Well, and you got a lot invested in it too. I mean, did you drive a car back from California?
I rented a truck, like a moving company. They came in and moved me. So your collection was probably the most valuable thing you had. It's probably worth more than your electronics and your clothes and all that. One box was worth $10,000 because it had my Figure Arts Power Rangers and a couple things that I didn't pay $10,000 for. Right. But like, if I knew how to work the market like I do toys, I'd be like the richest person because I can look at something and go, that's going to go up in value. I mean, you guys know how to do this too, but it's just like I have a string of really good investments in these things, and so that one collectible box, when it got to my buddy's house, I'm like, don't touch this one, leave it be. So
yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you do after a certain point in time when you see a pre-order order coming up for something, you're like, that thing is going to be worth money in the future. But I think a lot of people are kind of on that same level at the same time, so everybody gets the pre-order for something, and so the more of them that are out there, the less it actually is worth on the secondary secondary market. So but you just never know. I happen to come across a 1 of 500 Cody Rhodes from AEW, the one where he's wearing the Star Trek inspired gear, and I got it at Walmart for $19.99, and there's eBay listings for that thing right now at like $4,500. Right. So damn. you never know, man.
1 in 500. That's pretty rare.
Well, you know what? Jazzwares, they do that a lot. Jeremy Padawer over there has really been, as far as the limited quantity numbers. There's a few 1 in 500s. They're I think the most or the majority of them are 1 of 1,000 that they're doing now. But yeah, the AEW stuff is really holding up its value, especially with those limited run ones.
How many of those 1 in 500 wrestlers made it into the hands of a child? who
Dude, I
has
have no
no
idea.
clue what it's worth.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely no idea. But
Yeah.
you know, everybody was going crazy for that figure from the very beginning, and I just happened to stumble upon it like some dumbass kid that just unwrapped a golden ticket, you know, in his Willy Wonka bar. So
I follow AEW, but I've never purchased any of their figures strictly because the skin color they all look sick to me. Like the sculpt's nice, the detail in the paint, but all the skin color's off, and I'm just like, Cody Rhodes is not a weird shade of gray. He should be, you know, flesh colored. So
Yeah.
They're all a bit jaundiced.
yeah.
Well, that's Motu Masterverse right there. All of those He-Mans are coming out yellow looking, and I don't know why. But Wave 1 of the AEW stuff had a real big problem with that. Kenny Omega was that same really like taupe looking color that just didn't seem right. But then they've made some big adjustments in the subsequent waves, and there's pretty good stuff now.
I need a Hangman Adam Page. I'm glad I can go to clearance and find like 50 of them at once. Have you seen those pictures floating online?
Is it an Ollie's?
Not yet. But I went to Ollie's today for filming part of the new toy video. They got stocked for Christmas right now.
Damn.
I have never seen such a monument to failure with their Black Panther selection. And they had like 30 Vice Admiral Holdos just chilling in one section. I'm like, if this is your Christmas offering, you're not going to sell these to families. It's a lady in a purple dress and B-list Marvel characters. Like, yes, I get it. Some families don't have a lot of money. But if a kid says I want Spider-Man, they're not going to go buy them Black Panther's sister or U.S. agent or somebody like that. So I think this will be sitting there for quite a while.
You know, it'd be really funny if they had a whole bunch of Ellie Sadlers from the Amber collection, like right there with the Holdos too. You know?
Dad, I want Luke Skywalker.
Well, Ellie Sattler was a infinitely better character than Rear Vice General Admiral Holdo. So anyway, sequel nonsense.
It just seems like a bad dream at this point. Like, I know we lived through it. I've seen those movies. I've made enough videos about them here on YouTube.
Wow.
But every time I see those physical products, I go, oh yeah, those do exist. They're not just something I made in a video years ago. Like, I'm waiting to see Rose Tico pop up. I haven't seen her yet, but I've seen
no way.
Force Awakens, or not, sorry, I still see Last Jedi toys at Ollie's, like from the first wave.
So I was in Ohio last month for PowerCon, and my buddy Ted, who's in the chat, what's up, Ted? He took me to Ollie's, and they had 2-3 pegs full of Rey Skywalker from Last Jedi, and then like an entire shelf of Vice Admiral Holdos.
Yeah,
those are never going to sell. Just take them to the landfill now.
Yeah, I was thinking about buying a stack of them as a joke, and then I thought, this is a waste of money. I could literally do anything better. Like, I bought beef jerky instead, so I just didn't need to get my Vice Admiral.
that was a much better purchase.
It's like some beef jerky.
Do you want a bunch of $5 Vice Admiral Holdos or AA batteries? Because you always need those.
Yeah.
Just get the AA batteries.
The problem is, Holdo's $10. I'm just like, geez, this is still too much money.
I mean, you're better off just taking the money and then going to the hardware section and just buying screws. I mean, even if you don't need them right now, you probably will in the future, and so it's like it's a better investment than getting those. But just throw them away. You're gonna have to get rid of them because they're nobody's gonna want them. And
might as well buy these cinder blocks in case I want to build something.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a Chad display room. Because his entire display room is nothing but cinder blocks and it looks like plywood shelves and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Hey, it works.
Yeah, it does look kind of cool though. What's the actress's name, or is it just actor, or can you say actress? I think it's
you can
just
say
actor.
anything you want here.
What's the actor's name that played Rey? What's her real name?
Daisy Ridley.
Has she done anything since those? Like, did she get like did the Mark Hamill curse hit her? You know, when you star in a Star Wars trilogy and then your career's done, essentially.
She did like a murder mystery. What's it called? On the train.
Murder on the Orient Express.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's all I've seen.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's all she's done, the Poirot movie that you're talking about, because I don't think any of these people have really done too much post that movie. I know Benicio del Toro's popped up and stuff, but like, and Oscar Isaac too, but she's just, like you said, she's kind of got the Mark Hamill curse. I'm sure she'll be in more stuff in the future, but she's generic. She kind of blends in like a million other actresses. Even in the Star Wars universe, she kind of looks like Jyn Erso. She kind of looks like the chick from Solo: A Star Wars Story. Like, they're just. I mean, I know they're making another trilogy of movies with her in it, at least in one of those films. So I mean, maybe that's going to be the saving grace, but I doubt it.
Is that the movie that's going to happen? Because they've announced like 37 different movies.
And none of them will come out. But the one trilogy they did announce back in April at Star Wars Celebration was, it's not technically 7, 8, or sorry, not 9, or 10, 11, 12. It's just, there's like one Rey movie, one movie that takes place in the future, and one's like the origin of the Jedi, made by James Mangold. But after he had Indiana Jones 5 flop and all of these, just like in general, the Lucasfilm properties, who gives a shit? Like, Solo's dead, Indy's dead, Star Wars is there. Nobody's excited about any of these things.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of L's here lately, and in very short succession too. Because there's the final nail in the coffin for Indy was this last movie. And Harrison Ford's like, 80 something, so it's there isn't anything you can more you can do with him. You can't squeeze that one anymore. So, but. Did anybody actually watch that last movie? Yeah,
I watched it for the channel.
Yeah.
You mean Rise of
Dial of Destiny?
No, the Dial of Destiny.
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay.
Here's something controversial. It's better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it still sucks. Because I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the most damaging Indiana Jones movie. I think that movie is as damaging, if not more, than like The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens. Because the prequels were hit and miss. So Star Wars kind of had like the highest of highs and the meddling, Jar Jar Binks crap. But Indy was a solid trilogy, not a bad movie. I like Temple of Doom. And so you get to this fourth one, and they just make the character so much of a joke, and I think that's what really hurt this fifth one, because Indiana Jones had died as a property. Take away the 15-year gap, you had just one really terrible film that was lambasted for 15 years. Just straight up, it was just 15 years of jokes. And then you have another generation of moviegoers that didn't grow up with Indiana Jones, because people our age were turned off from Indiana Jones from that last one, and people having kids weren't showing their kids the new one, so it's just kind of like Indiana Jones was this dormant thing. And I think that's what hurt it. I mean, that's what killed it. Besides it being a dumb movie, the fourth one, killed Indiana Jones, and this fifth one was just like the death twitch.
Yeah. I did watch it a couple of days ago, just because I'm on I'm on vacation right now. I have some use or lose vacation days that I have to take. So I have nothing to do, literally nothing to do. So I watched that movie, and I'm going to be honest with you, man. There were some things about that movie that work. There was actually some cool ideas in there. But when it was good, it was like passably good. But when it was bad, it was horribly bad. So it didn't, you know what I mean? The roller coaster didn't level itself out there. But I'm very glad that this is the last one. I'm glad it's over. I don't have to worry about it anymore, because Indy is one of those cherished characters from when I was a kid. So I'm glad there's no more elder abuse happening with Harrison Ford.
Are you sure it's over?
Are you sure it's over? I hope so. Like,
you don't think
after the time travel, you can't do anything else?
Indy 6 Weekend at Indies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at this point, it's going to be a Weekend at Bernie's scenario where Harrison Ford's just there as like a marionette puppet, and
don't give Kathleen Kennedy any ideas.
I know, right? But no one's ever really gone, So
she would be.
The stuff that did not work was the de-aging CGI stuff. It was so it really took you out of the immersion of the movie, just because it was so bad. And there's an actor that I've seen on YouTube a couple of times who's been petitioning, he was really trying to get attention to play Han Solo in Solo instead of this other guy that looks nothing like Harrison Ford and sounds.
Are you talking
like
about
Harrison
Anthony
Ford.
Gruber?
I'm not sure, but he did some like a couple like 30-second little tests, of him doing Harrison Ford impressions with his hair right and everything, and I was like, whoa, you got something here. That's interesting. But
he played a younger Harrison Ford in a movie.
Did he really?
Age of Adeline. Yeah,
that's it. Yep.
Okay, I guess I need to do my history or my research on this guy. But I was very impressed with what he did, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Hollywood, if we could use an actual person, right, an actor to do the job that they, to do an actor's job. But no, there was 75 people behind computers, in a in a CGI studio. So, whatever.
I thought there were some shots, like in the beginning when he was in the train with the hat on, I thought the hat was like way too low and it looked really weird.
Right.
And I think overall the effect does suck. There was like one or two shots when he's up in the smoke on the top of the train right before he punches Mads Mikkelsen. I thought like one or two of those shots were like, oh, okay, this kind of looks like what I'm expecting it to look like. But other than that, I'm with you, especially after they fell off and they're like getting out of the water. Remember right after they get out of the river or whatever?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? This is like, why are the like Lucasfilms the ones that like push the technology past the breaking point where they just don't look good anymore? They've ruined the movie.
What year did Attack of the Clones come out? Or I'm sorry,
02.
Yeah, no. What movie? Star Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, right? Do you remember that horrible CGI mask that they put on that stuntman that was supposed to look like Count Dooku?
Yes.
Yes.
During the Yoda lightsaber fight scene. That levels of bad on this de-aged Indy, especially when he starts tackling people, right? And you have a lot of stuff happening real fast. It's really bad. Yeah.
It beyond it being bad, it's also just really jarring to hear Harrison Ford's old man voice coming out of his young face. He's like, I'm like, why did you not get his son dubs him in Blade Runner? There's like a final cut of Blade Runner that came out around 2009, and his son did the dubbing because his voice sounds like he used to, and you can't tell the difference. Why wouldn't they just rehire his son to just do that? Like, just make it seamless, or at least try to.
Because it's in the flashbacks, I think the Indy that we're looking at in the flashbacks is about my age, like 40, 41, probably something like that. But you just got this old man Indy voice on there, It's like, come on, man. Yeah, come on, Chewie, we're gonna. So, but hey, you know what? We could talk about the toys from that, since we're doing a collector toy stream. Right?
Yeah,
that's why I'm here.
I was gonna say to you, the best thing, and I haven't even taken these out of the box. Excuse the rustling of the bag, but I picked up most of the adventure series. Like I got Marion and Sala here. As soon as I moved back east, this is the first thing I did. Is I went to a toy store and I bought these. But I got Indy. I bought every Indy. The only figure I don't think I bought was Helena Shaw from the new movie because I'm a terrible person. But other than that, I bought them all because I hated Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but I bought every single figure that came out in that 2008 line that was based on the original films. And I even found the Temple of Doomwave. You're talking about flipping toys earlier. We were talking about it. I went into a Kroger, and I worked for 7-Up, the pop company. And I walked in there at 3 or 4 in the morning going to stock the shelves. And I'm like, I'm going to take a look down the toy aisle real quick. Because I had read a leak on Rebel Scum forums that they were showing up at Kroger. And I found sets and sets of them. I'm like, I'm taking them all. Mainly to keep for myself because, yes, I want to have extra Indies in case one breaks or something. But, every Indiana Jones figure I've purchased. Because as a kid, that was my number one toy I wanted. So as an adult, I just go crazy.
It's good you got them if you wanted them because there's a good chance this is it.
Yeah.
As far as toys. I know Mezco's doing a line. They're doing Indy and they're doing Tote.
I bought Indy already.
Yeah, right. But I think as far as a retailish priced main line at the stores, this is probably it.
Yeah, but it's good that they're kind of doing all the essential stuff that I wanted, like quick, fast, and in a hurry, right? Like we're getting Raiders, Temple of Doom, and then Last Crusade, like all together at the same time, which is the only 3 that I actually fucking care about. and we're getting short round, which is awesome. So I just need Tote from the first wave. That's it. And that's the only thing that I'm missing for the for the build arc. Because I'm kind of in the same boat with Jeff there, which is, these aren't the greatest figures that Hasbro has produced thus far. We're getting single elbows, we're getting single knees and stuff, but the likenesses aren't that bad. And it's honestly a toy line that I've been wanting since I was a kid, right? And we never got it. So there was the 3 3/4 stuff that was kind of before my time. So. But I'm happy with these purchases overall. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think the price point's too bad for what you get. If you were lucky and you went into some of these Targets, you could get these things on clearance. Like, I feel silly. I paid full price for Kazum, but he was like $7 for some people. I wish I would have got him for $7.
Yeah,
because
I picked up a second Kazum, and I popped the head off and put on the George Lucas head from the Stormtrooper. Lucas Stormtrooper they put out like a year ago. It's awesome.
How's it look?
Let me get it.
Oh, cool.
Got George Lucas with the machine gun. I just wanted to tell a story.
That's too cool.
I'm gonna get my children back from the white slavers.
It's
like more intense.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
If we could just get this figure working,
bitch.
This submachine gun is the key to everything, and if we can get it working.
The midichlorians in the clip. Right to your ass, okay? Eat that.
That is pretty cool, though, man. That's a cool little kit bash right there.
Yeah,
I love it. The only thing I would say about the indie line is I feel like we have too big of holes. Like, there's no Willie Scott, no Molaram, no Elsa Schneider. And it's cool that they got like Walter Donovan, because they didn't make Walter Donovan.
They're doing Elsa. No, they're
sorry. That's not out yet. Sorry. That's not out yet.
They teased Molaram early or mid last year. They teased Molaram. They said Molaram is coming, and they canceled it because they got attacked because it's culturally insensitive. Molaram.
For what reason?
Because he's Indian.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know.
Well, we have Nick on the show, and he's always said that because he knows the actor, like their family's from India, and they talked about how they all that family, they love Temple of Doom because they're like, we don't care. It shows India, and so they were just all about it. And even his like mom and stuff, they all like Temple of Doom, and the actor was very proud of it too. I mean, people. It's funny how the internet people got so offended on behalf of the people of Temple of Doom, but the people that made it weren't, it was a big budget movie. These people weren't treated poorly. Right. I like the movie. I think, of course, nothing ages as well as you think it will in the time, but I don't think Temple of Doom has aged to the point where it's offensive. It's just people are too sensitive.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, people have appropriated oversensitivity. To be honest with you, that's that's learned behavior at this point. So they're not actually offended, but they know the things that they should be offended about that are within the societal norms of right now, right?
And they want to let you know about it because then they get to say what a good person they are.
Right? They get to.
I'm a good person.
I'm one of the good ones. That's me. But it's the same reason, and I'm sure I don't know if we can actually say this word because it'll get your channel taken down or demonetized. But World War II bad guys, right? That's what these lines are actually missing. Like, I need some bad guys for Indy to punch. For fig photography and stuff, but even though we're going to use them as the bad guys in these lines, and they're historically known as the bad guys, we still can't have them. So
it's a damn crime. They put the German mechanic in the retro line, but not in the 6-inch line.
Sure, yeah.
Like, that would have been a perfect figure for the 6-inch line. That German mechanic.
Yeah,
I would have bought it because that's my favorite scene in the movie. It's a 2-parter where he fights the mechanic and the part with the truck. The truck's my actual favorite, but that like look of Indy with the gloves and he's all beaten up and he's just trying, like, that's the best part of Raiders. That's like nonstop action to me. And like back in the 08 line, the mechanic didn't come out except for the Comic-Con exclusive pack, which I didn't buy that. I don't have $500. Well, I don't want to spend $500 on 6 Hasbro figures. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
But the German bad guys that they used to have, the only thing they would say, because I used to read interviews with Hasbro, was like, look, we're not going to put the logo on, but other than that, they were going to make the figure. So in the 15 years, the society's gotten so, uppity about stuff. And if it was acceptable to sell those toys in 2008, I don't really see the problem selling them now, because they're not glorifying any of their actions. Like you said, they're the bad guys of the story. They get melted, they get shot, they get burned, they get destroyed. It's funny.
It's universally accepted. And as far as the political spectrum is concerned, from end to end, that these were the bad guys, right? No one's glorifying them. Anything. Nope. Give us the bad look, and you don't have to put the symbol on there, but a red armband, painted on a figure, that would be okay, right?
Yeah, Colonel Vogel, they did him like that. You could put a sticker on if you wanted to. I don't, but
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's really that's what's missing here, man. So
it was. I did see somebody post about a Hasbro, some kind of release or something, like a press release, and they're like, they didn't even mention Indiana Jones. I had heard a rumor that the line was dead because the movie underperformed and Target pretty much got them out of their stores already. I never even saw Indiana Jones at Walmart or any non-Target store.
Right.
I pre-ordered all of mine and they're still not here. So
the line is canceled. Otherwise, they would have had a panel for them at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right. Yeah.
So it's over.
I don't know, because we got Pulse whatever coming up on the 22nd, right? So
they didn't advertise anything from Indie coming. They showed all their brands in an ad, but not Indie.
I think that's what I was looking at. Yeah. I want. All right, Jeremy. If you were going to get another Indie figure, just one, who would it be?
Just one?
Yeah, like if you could say to Hasbro, give me this character that they haven't made, and they'll give it to you, who would it be?
Oh, like 1/12 scale wise.
Yeah, in the adventure line.
It wouldn't be a character. It would be a vehicle. I would want the motorcycle with the side cart for Indy and Henry.
Good choice.
Took mine. You took mine. That's an awesome. It's a sin that's not getting made.
Right. Or just you know what? The motorcycle from Captain America.
Yeah, that kind of looks like it, but there's no sidecar.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or you know what? Just a horse. Just a horse would be great too.
I agree.
But I think that there's a couple of different people that are doing horses. That Roach that McFarlane did. That's getting a lot of use from people, but it's still too big for 1/12 figures. It's in that 1/10 7-inch scale. So but yeah, that would be it. If they came to me and they were like, you got free reign, you can do one thing with Indy and one thing only, and it's the last that we're ever going to do, I would do the motorcycle with the sidecar for Indy and Henry.
What about you, LaserPants?
Oh, real easy. I'm going to cheat a little and say I want a 2-pack with Molaram.
Okay, fair.
A Molaram and a Thuggy guard. That way I could get multiple guards. I want to army build those things. Nice. That's one of my favorite scenes in all of Indiana Jones, is on that bridge when he's fighting the Thuggies, the guys with the swords, Molaram's out there. That's what I would want.
Yeah.
When I was in grade school, I wrote a paper on Steven Spielberg because he's from Cincinnati. We had to pick a famous Ohioan. I intentionally picked him so I could show that scene in class, because I was like, I just want to show this class Indiana Jones, because a lot of people hadn't seen it. So I wrote a whole paper on him just to show the bridge scene, because it's an awesome part of that movie. That movie, it does. Okay, I'm not like offended or actually bothered, but when people say Temple of Doom's the worst one, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, seriously, like 4's the worst one, 5's bad, 1, 2, and 3 are all great, but don't dump on Temple of Doom, man.
I never understood that. Yeah, even as a kid, it freaked me out when I was really young. But I love Temple of Doom
for sure. It scared the living bejesus out of me.
I'm like 4 years old watching a dude get his heart ripped out of his chest.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So so that was that was a crazy movie. But honestly, Jeff, when people say that when we talk about these legacy movies and their current iterations and stuff, when people say that, we talk about the indie movies, I don't really consider the Alien one. What was that one from 2007?
Crystal Skull.
I don't really put Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny into the conversation. I just think of the original three. So I mean, out of those three, yeah, two maybe the most, but um, out of what we have now, it's a goddamn cinematic masterpiece. Um, it's it's Citizen Kane compared to um, 4 and 5.
To answer my own question, I would have liked a 2-pack with like Molaram and maybe Willie to do like maybe put her in like a cardboard box of the cage. But now I kind of want a Thuggy Guard. Realistically, though, this is a lazy one. I'd like them to just do that Indy with the horse 2-pack. The look of that specific scene with the gloves and the weathered look, and just like maybe even put a bloody face because he got his shit pushed in. Like, go that route. I'd like that because
Be cool.
Yeah,
I can't do the paint apps myself. I'm not that kind of a collector yet. Maybe I'll get into it. I did paint my Wolverine claws with a silver paint pen because it was the VHS Wolverine and they looked crappy and matte gray. But other than that, I don't know how to
hashtag customizer. You should sell that on eBay for $150 now because it's customized.
What I'll do is I'll join, what is it, the art one, the one that's really specific about the action figure stuff, and I'll just do really crappy photos with that Wolverine and submit them to because I've watched them like, this photo's not good enough. Was it BCAA or something like that, or whatever the group's called? Or Articulated Comic Book Art. Maybe it's ACVA or whatever. They were big for a while, and I used to look at all their pictures, and now
Kinda.
I guess
Not that big.
Instagram. Oh, they weren't that big. Okay, they presented themselves as a lot bigger. I just was like, you guys are kind of douchey and too I don't know. I don't want to say elitist because it makes me
No,
sound
the guy that does that whole thing, he's been going after me for a few days now. He's real upset with me.
Well, I take your side. What did he do?
It's just automatically. Yeah, I'm on your side.
Oh God, it's so convoluted. He got mad at Tony for something Tony put in a video. Then he got mad at someone for saying something on 3POA. I don't know. And
Believe me.
he doesn't like when people criticize toys.
It's a product.
He's got to stay in good with the big companies. So
Right, and here's the deal. This is I would assume that the natural progression for the adult action figure enthusiast, right? I remember when I first started up again as an adult, and seeing the offerings that were there, and it was just nostalgia based, right? Oh, that's great. I remember that. I loved that when I was a kid. I'm getting it. I remember that from when I was a kid. I'm getting it, right? It doesn't matter who made it, what the price was, right? I'm a nostalgia junkie. Now I'm looking at these things as consumer products, right? Like, what am I getting for the money? What's the track record of this particular company that's making these? Are they going to finish the entire line, or is they doing 1 and 2 figures and they're stopping, right?
Jeremy, wait. It sounds like you're an adult making an informed purchase, and this is just getting weird now.
Right. Yeah. So you make that transition from nostalgia fanboy over to, but mature, like emotionally mature adult that's, spending money on a consumer product. But some individuals, they stay in the first category. They never actually transition to the emotionally mature adult portion that sees these. And so I've said this before. There's individuals out there where their nostalgia has become part of their personality. So when a new product does come out, and then you have some negative things to say about the product itself, right? Not the IP that it's from, but just this particular product. I don't like the way the elbows look. I think the accessories are trash. The head sculpt doesn't look right. Anything. That's an attack on them now. Because they hold this IP in such high regard. And so that's why they lash out the way they do. And, it's not what emotionally mature adults should be doing, or the way that they should be behaving. But
sounds toxic to me.
Yeah, I know. There's so much the level of toxicity here. But, whatever. And that's,
Anyway.
that's what's so interesting about 3POA is that I believe it's the least controversial but most controversial toy show, because I really believe that there's not a whole lot of controversy there, but for some reason it's controversial for a lot of people. But
because you guys aren't a commercial, because
Right.
like you guys, I'm a collector. I also make YouTube content. I've been doing it for a while now. There is a genuine nature to the 3POA stuff. Like, I don't get to check out every episode, but when you guys happen to be on and I'm, I'm available, I watch. I like the stuff you guys do because you just are honest. I can listen to you talk about toys and go, all right, you're not looking for some free, stuff. You're not like Collider used to be where you're going to shill out for, I got my box of action figures. Like, I know this guy who's on that list of like people that get free stuff. Yeah. And he's like, I got the Ahsoka figures like 3 weeks ago. But all he does is sit and kiss ass on Facebook for how great everything is. I'm like, I would rather pay my own cash and tell it like it is than have to kiss a company's ass for an action figure. Because I don't really respect those people. There's this one guy, I won't say his name, his channel name, but his initials are DL. You guys know who he is. I think he's a tool. I won't even watch his toy content because he is so fake. And now he's going to be some brand ambassador, but I'm like, you're the worst type of YouTube toy creator because all you do is dump on people who dislike a product that there's validity to it. It's like, I don't know, let's say you buy the VHS the VHS X-Men set. My Jubilee came unpainted in the cardboard box. I swore off the whole series based on that because I was like, you're going to sell me these cardboard box action figures and not have them be painted? I'm not paying my money for that. Somebody like that, oh, it's not a big deal, it just happens, blah, blah, blah. You guys are going to be honest about that stuff. And as a collector, somebody that's going to spend a lot of money on this stuff, I want to listen to people just be honest about it. Because once you get it in your hand and it sucks, it's not as big as the other people hype it up to be, you hate the product. Like, I've bought stuff that people are like, this is the greatest toy ever. And I get it in hand, I'm like, this sucks. Right. Like the, what is it? The Figure Arts Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I had pre-ordered it. I heard a bunch of reviews. People were going, kissing its ass. I'm like, this is going to be cool. And then I got it, and I was like, man, this is kind of a letdown. This is like slightly better than the Hasbro figure from 22 years ago.
I am so glad I didn't pull the trigger on that thing.
Such a big time letdown, Spider-Man. That was your version of it right there. But hey, so your VHS Jubilee did not come painted at all?
Her arm, like, whatever joint is up here was just straight yellow. Like, I'm like, because I know she wears the gloves and the stuff. And I was like, this is weird because my Wolverine was good. My Cyclops was good. Yeah. And I know people are saying Cyclops came out after. I have like an addiction with this Jim Lee designs. It's like, if they have them, I have to buy them. Like, my art board that I use when I'm drawing Wokebusters and stuff is this Jim Lee collector's edition book. I like hold it on my lap and draw over the top of it. So I love Jim Lee X-Men stuff. And like, I'm going to meet him next weekend. Shit, I got to get ready for that show. But like, I don't know. You put Cyclops out there. I even saw the new one from X-Men 97. I was like, oh, yeah. But I didn't buy it because they didn't paint his trunks, and I'm like, that's too lazy, Hasbro.
Thank God Hasbro fixed that Cyclops figure from the last iteration of it because now that I don't even know what those are. He has these like leg bracelets, right? But
they just hang.
Yeah, but now they're on the last one from like 2017, 2018, something like that. They would just slide off all the time. But the new ones are improved. Now, I had an issue with my VHS Storm. Her her regular hands, not the one with the lightning effects. Mm-hmm. She came with two lefts. She didn't come with the right. And so I sent an email to Hasbro customer service saying, "Hey, is there any way you can send me I just need a hand? Can you give me a hand here?" And they sent me a list of demands that was like. It was a quest, and I think returning the ring to Mordor would probably be less complicated than the things that they wanted me to do. And and I thought that the first one was interesting because they wanted a receipt from the retailer that I purchased it from, and I was like, "This is a Pulse exclusive. I purchased it from you." Where the fuck else do you think I got it from?
Receipt, original tracking number, proof of life.
And then so on the bottom of these figures' feet, there's like a lot number that tells you the day it was made and where it was made. Everything within that. They wanted a picture of that as well with my original receipt of purchase. So that was just a screenshot, I guess, from Pulse. But it was really like there was like 5 or 6 things that they wanted me to do in order to get a replacement hand. Just give me a hand. and actually buying another one just would have been easier. And I think that part of that process is so complicated because they just want you to buy another one and shut up, you know, because it doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't.
When I bought the Renew Your Vows 2-pack from, I guess I bought it from Big Bad Toy Store, mine came with an unpainted eye. And I was like, hey, this is messed up. And they're like, just send us a picture of it. And they did. And they're like, now send it back and we'll give you a brand new one. And they did. And it was cool. Like, I wish more places were that easy, because I have a duality about Big Bad Toy Store. Like, I pre-ordered shit when I still lived in California, and it's not here. And the Indiana Jones line is now done, and I still haven't received, like, I bought a Temple of Doom Indie at Target over the 4th of July weekend because I knew my Big Bad Toy Store one was still going to be months away. You know, like, so everything from them.
You want to know why that happens? So Big Bad, they have their own shipping from China. So they have their containers, and they fill them up with product, and they don't ship it until it's full, right? And so you might have pre-ordered something that's already showing up at Target. Well, over on the China side, their container isn't full yet. They got more stuff to put in it as it comes out. When that container's full, they close the doors, put it on the boat, and that's why you're waiting an extra 2-3 months sometimes.
Yep. Now I see. I like the way that Ringside Collectibles does it, because Ringside pays to get that stuff air freighted over. So like when you buy a you know, like an entire wave of WWE elites, right, with like the you know, a Build-A-Figure wave, whatever, you pay a couple more dollars than you're going to retail for sure, right? But you're going to get those things literally months before they show up on the shelves, because they pay the extra money to have them air freighted. So you know, and I don't mind paying a little bit extra to have that guarantee, right, that I'm going to get them in hand and I don't have to go out, you know, and you know, fight people. Money. Yeah. Or literally fight people like Jeff McElwee witnessed over Master Splinter. So he witnessed. Your face looks a little surprised, but his account of what happened, there was literally a contest of fisticuffs. And there was a physical altercation over a NECA split. Yeah, you gotta yell, "Have at thee!" Right? Yeah. What was that meme I put in the group chat about the English people fighting? Remember that from a couple days ago?
Oh yeah.
Oi, bruv.
Let's have at it, bruv.
Yeah, let's have a proper go at it, bruv.
I guess I'm lucky. I've never had to deal with that when it comes to like picking up a toy. I've always gone down the aisles by myself and gone, oh, here's the thing I'm looking for. I guess also I'm a giant guy, so most people aren't going to try to fight me over an action figure.
No one's messing with you.
Yeah.
It's funny because hanging out with you, it's like it's the one time that I'm looking up at somebody.
You know, I did run into one at a Target one time. So we had, as far, like, you know, we're talking toys anyway. So my Target from back when I was in Tacoma, it was just like,
that one's pretty rough.
That one's rough. I usually go the extra way and go to Federal Way, right? Because the one in Tacoma, there's always someone getting arrested there almost every single time that we're there. They started putting porta-johns outside of the store in the parking lot, and then closed off the restrooms inside the store because you had so many junkies that were shooting heroin inside the bathrooms. Jesus. Right?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Welcome to the greater Seattle area.
Yeah. Welcome.
This just sounds like a Walmart.
Welcome to SeaTac. Yeah. Welcome to SeaTac. So, but anyway, at that particular Target, the NECA ambassador, right? Their NECA ambassador program. He was also your local neighborhood scalper at the same time. And everybody knew him. And but there was one time I did encounter him there, and he had a shopping cart, and it was just full of NECA TMNT. I think it was when Krang, Big Body Krang, came out, and he had like 4 of them. And you know, I get there, and it's like 5 minutes after opening. You know, I got there early, and he sees me, and I'm like, dude, and he's like, you need one? And I was like, yeah, kinda. you know, and he took it out of his cart and he handed it to me. I'm like, thanks, I guess, you know, whatever.
Damn, I'm surprised he gave you one.
Yeah, it's.
I would have fought you like this. Like,
That's why I should only toy hunt like in uniform. You know what I mean? Like I look a bit more intimidating, like when I'm in, you know, combat uniform and stuff. So,
I mean, but you're still 4'10", so
4'10". I am the average American. I'm just over 5'9", not quite 5'10". I am the average American male in every single category that you could possibly put me in. There's nothing spectacular about me whatsoever.
Now, you brought up WWE figures. I'm a big fan of. I mean, I love pro wrestling and stuff, but I gotta say, like, what you get for the money, I think their figures look really good. I went to WrestleMania and saw the stuff that's not even out yet. And like in person, their face sculpts, the printing that they use on the faces, they're accurate. They come out now and they're in a better cycle too. Cause you know, when I was a kid playing with them, you might get like, let's say Eddie Guerrero. Let's say it took a year for Eddie Guerrero to come out.
Right.
Like, you know, he might be off and injured and you're at the store like, well, there's his figure. I don't really care. He's not on TV. Nowadays, they get these wrestlers, like a new wrestler, like even somebody like Logan Paul, he had to figure out within a decent, like a couple of months of coming out.
It was like 6 months, man. Straight up. It was like 6 months.
I like their stuff. Like, I know you guys are way big into the Masters of the Universe stuff, but I picked up this Rock because, you know, it's the Rock.
Yeah.
But,
oh, no. Let me just clarify before you go on. He-Man sucks.
Yeah, Ryan's not a Motu guy whatsoever. But, you know, I did... I have some of the WWE Ultimates. I'm a big fan of the Elites. I really like the Elite line. And, you know, the WWE, the Mattel Basics used to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now they're just $9.99, like straight up, you need a kid's toy in a pinch. You know what I mean? You just go and grab one. But they used to be good figures. But I think the Elites are like where it's at right now.
Yeah.
But the last Ultimate that I picked up was Bray Wyatt. You know, I have multiple Bray Wyatt figures. I have his ringside exclusive Firefly Funhouse. You know, I have a couple of his basics as well. I have his Elite. But the day he passed, you know, I knew that I didn't have his Ultimate, and I was like, you know what, this is going to get really gross. And so I went to ringside, and they still had them at retail, so I purchased one at retail. And then I was right about our disgusting species, because the day after that, I went to eBay to see what they were going for, and his Ultimate was going for like $80-$90 when they were retailed the day before. So
that kind of, I hate that side of collecting. It's like,
it's so fucking gross, man.
Predatory.
Gents, I'll be right back. Give me like 2 minutes.
Yeah. I noticed that kind of stuff with a lot of other toy lines as well. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to make a buck. This might be your job, but have some decency. If somebody just passed away, like don't cash in on their death. I don't respect that.
Right. And you know, people tried that with when Carrie Fisher passed, and even Chadwick Boseman. Prices on their figures spiked for a minute, but they came right back down, you know, after a few months. And so, you know, if Black Panther dies, don't run out and buy a figure for like double, triple, quadruple retail. Just wait. It'll come back down. People are just
It's at Ollie's right now.
Exactly. You can get like
even
20
him.
of them at all.
I was on a Facebook group and I was like, this Ollie's looks familiar. And I clicked the guy posted a picture of the shelves and I was like, I don't normally Facebook stalk, but I think he's at my local Ollie's. So I clicked on the guy's profile to see that he lives in Cincinnati. I'm like, hey, that's my Ollie's. Because like they have 60 of those, like whatever the one series of Marvel figures are. They're not the Legends, but they're the ones that are right beneath it. Not the Titan series either. They're like maybe like 5 or 6 inches, but they're
I know the ones you're talking about. I think they change the name of the line every so often, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's always been such a weird toy line. I get it; those are for kids. All of them technically are for kids, but you can tell when, you know, like a Legend is a collector figure versus a, you know, for the kids type of thing. Like a lot of the Spider-Man figures are kind of generic, but the other ones seem to have more detail.
People say they're for kids, and that's fine, they are. But when I would take my kid down the toy aisle, like let's say Endgame was out, we're looking at the action figures. They would have that limited articulation 5-inch line, and then a Marvel Legend right next to it. Well, he's pointing at the Marvel Legend, right? he doesn't want the corny one. Like, kids aren't dumb, right? They know which one is better. And so I just feel like if they just put more stock into the better figure, a lot of parents would pay the price. I mean, maybe I'm the outlier because I'm a weirdo toy collector, but I don't know. The 5-inch stuff, I don't know if it does appeal to kids because it's always hitting clearance. It's always at the Ollie's, the Ross,
That's why when I like do the videos and stuff, I don't necessarily always harp on those and just unless there's like a massive amount, because even like you said, main retail that's just sat around. It's the Legends, the premier flagship line.
Yeah.
That's the one that kids and adults want to collect. I think I bought almost every Marvel Legend that came out in 2019. I used to be really big into the line, and then I moved. The pandemic hit, and the figures just didn't appeal to me as much anymore. Like I still buy them, but I don't buy like waves anymore.
I mean, post Endgame, we all kind of started to get a sour taste in our mouth over the MCU, right? And so, like, Marvel as a whole just was kind of like, meh, like Endgame was. They should have ended it there, but for me, after that movie, I don't remember what was next, but pandemic hit. It was like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals.
Spider-Man came out this summer afterwards, but even that one didn't hit as big for me. And I love Spider-Man; that's my go-to superhero. Yeah,
that one's fine, but yeah, Marvel as a whole at that point, I think a lot of people started to lose interest in. It's running its course.
It wouldn't have been so bad as that after Endgame, if they just would have done film adaptations of really, really, really successful graphic novels, instead using the actors and the established characters that are already in the MCU, right? Kind of like this last the Batman, right, was like a big wink, wink, nod, nod to Long Halloween, right? I think if they would have taken those classic, graphic novels from Marvel and then adapted them into film, it would have been better for them overall. There's some gems though still. Like Guardians 3 was a really cool.
Guardians 3 was great.
Movie.
Yeah. I liked it.
I didn't see a need for Adam Warlock to be in the movie, but okay. He was there as comedy relief for some reason. Sure,
it felt
whatever.
like it felt like they well, we teased it with the cocoon, so we better throw him in.
Yeah, because we saw him in the after credit scene in the first Guardians film.
Right.
I believe it was,
first or second, I don't remember.
But with in the Infinity Saga, at least the comic book version of it, you can't do it without him there, right?
Yep.
He fell. He's the one that fell to Earth, right? Or was it the Silver Surfer?
Silver. It was Hulk in the MCU, but it was Surfer in the book or in the comic book. He's the one that crashed down into Strange's. Yep. The Sanctum. So
it's one of those movies where I like the movie and the book, and if they make changes of that like specific storyline, I was on board with it because I grew up with the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Saga and all those books, the Ron Lim, the George Perez, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I really dug what they used to do with these movies. They used to be like exciting, and I would be ready to buy Marvel stuff. Nowadays, it's like I'll get like I got this from Japan because I found a website that was selling it for like the equivalent of $55 American.
Hey.
And so I just picked up. Yeah, that's why I got it. And I shit you not, it showed up in like 3 days from Japan. I didn't pay like crazy shipping either. And I was like, "Is this real?" And I opened it up.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate one, but
you sure you don't have a super good knockoff?
If this is a knockoff,
that's legit. No, that's legit.
Okay.
Yeah, but because I have every release of that figure. I have the original 75. Sadly, the box got destroyed, but everything inside is fine, so I can like live without the box, even though I'm kind of heartbroken.
Gotcha.
I got that one, the comic paint, the black suit. The only one I didn't get are the spin-offs of Ben Reilly, and I don't consider those the real Spider-Man anyway, so I don't buy it.
It's not for me. Yeah, those aren't for me either. I can take them or leave them, to be honest with you. But I was as far as the action figure collector side of this, I was a really, really, really big MCU collector. I was all about it, man. But then I wound up selling. I was like everything. I was almost like completely out of Marvel Legends, like almost completely done, except for my. I'm a Steve Rogers simp, so I kept all my Cap stuff, and. But I think I was down to like probably 10 15 Marvel Legends, and now I'm back up to like 100 and something, I think. So
wow, 100 Marvel Legends.
Yeah, I know well, it's your collection. That's a drop in the bucket, but
no, I mean it's fine.
No,
you're cool.
It's not a contest, Ryan.
If it was, I'd win, but
we're not competing. But if we were, I'd totally be dominating. But yeah,
I'm a bigger nerd.
Does anyone want to even dispute that? It's like, all right, you can take the title.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
There's no way to win this game. Collecting, there's no way to win this game, honestly.
Now, see, I look at collecting a little differently. So, for example, let's say we're all talking about, like, I got this Spider-Man thing, I got that Spider-Man thing. There are trump cards, excuse me. Like, if you say, I got all these exclusive figures, and I pull out a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15, I won. Right. But there are certain levels to it. But like you said, there's really no reason to argue about it, because it's all, at the end of the day, it's fun. These are mass-produced items. It's not like we have unique things, bespoke items that are just, one, for you. Because, like, I don't know, some of the stuff I love in my collection the most, I'm sure it's basic stuff. Like, my rock figures or random crap like this. I got this not that long ago. The only reason I got excited about it is because I got it for retail price. It's an okay figure. I haven't opened it yet. But, like,
if you like that classic card, I say just leave it in box.
Yeah,
I am.
It's not a bad figure though. It's got the updated double abdominal articulation on it. So,
well, I have almost all the figures. So, okay.
Scott Hughes in the chat. I army built the Sentinels, not Galactus.
And would that be the plural of Galactus? Galacti?
Galacti?
Okay.
Galactuses?
The Galactuses.
I have a Galactus from Toy Biz just sitting over here. Salvador sent it to me years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Salvador.
He sent me so many awesome toys. Like, he's like, Duder, I'm going to send you old Spider-Man. So he sent me like a ton of the 94 line. He sent me vintage I guess they're vintage by today's standards, but the Toy Biz X-Men, like all that stuff. I'm like, thanks, man. Yeah. I guess I'm at the right age where I'm feeling nostalgic for it, even though they're not my favorite toys.
Sal. Well, hello. I'm going to send you some action figures. If you
hey, listen.
If you would enjoy them in your collection, I can send them to you.
Getting the Sal package is always exciting because he always throws a little bit extra in there,
Dude, he sent me this care package, man. Totally unsolicited, and he knows how us Dragonheart fans have to stick together, right? Like, when I was a kid, Dragonheart was my gateway to fantasy. I didn't care about knights and dragons and all that stuff before I saw Dragonheart. Anyway, so it holds a very, very special place in my heart and Dragonheart. But anyway, Sal sent me a box, and it was his entire loose collection of Dragonheart, and these were the figures that he had as a kid as well. And he sent me all of them, plus all these additional things, gifts for but at the time my 6-month-old son, a bunch of little dinosaurs, and I mean there was figures from Congo in there. There was a customized G.I. Joe classified Duke. It was just all this stuff, right? And anyway, it was really, really cool going through all that, man. There was figures from Waterworld in there, man. That Kevin Costner movie where he's got the ear gills and all that shit. Remember?
Yeah, the only Kevin Costner figure I ever had growing up was the Robin Hood one, but I've seen the Waterworld stuff. Hell, when I lived in California, I went to that Waterworld stunt show probably 30 times. Oh, yeah. I had a Universal pass. That's better than the movie.
I did that last time we went, and that was actually pretty cool. I was expecting it to be real cheesy, but it's actually pretty cool.
That one, the bad guy from that movie, that was like my second Dustin Hopper figure, because I had King Koopa from the Mario movie, right?
and he was easy to get his likeness, because I thought the King Koopa one kind of looked like him. I thought all the Mario figures actually looked like the actors for 1993 standards.
Oh yeah, they were great. Now, do you know that back to toys, right? Carded examples of those are crazy expensive right now.
Really?
Mario? They have been for a couple of years, man. Even loose ones that are complete, loose but complete.
No.
Loose ones that are complete are still fetching a pretty penny. But everybody seems to have lost those plunger guns that they had, toilet plunger guns, and the rest of that stuff. So, but yeah, I think carded ones are going for like $100.
Jeez, that's a lot of Mario hype.
Yeah,
yeah. I had Luigi. That was the only one I had as a kid. I saw the movie in theaters. I did not like it, and I went right back to playing the video games. I was like, all right, that happened, and like most 90s kids, we just didn't really go on about it. Power Rangers came out the same year, so that kind of just took my whole, everything, or took all my attention. Yeah. Speaking of Power Rangers, I started recollecting. I'm not going to go pull it out of the closet, but when I first moved back, I so happened to go to a couple toy stores, and they had most of the original stuff in boxes. So I'm like, I need the Power Rangers again. So now I have the original 8-inch figures, and I don't know if I'm going to get into the Zords and other crap, because that's where it gets really pricey to get like brand new in box stuff. But I still have all my original stuff with all the pieces, so that's the toy line that I never, got out of.
Those 8-inch ones were really, really well articulated. They're really big, and they don't moved. Yeah, they don't weigh anything because they're hollow bodies, right? But yeah, you can get those. You can get a set of those, all of them, for I think like 120, 130 with all of them together. Now, do they have their blasters with them? That's another question, because those things got lost a lot, man.
These were $25 to $30 a piece in box.
Not bad.
So I thought that's not a bad deal at all.
In the box?
These are in the box. These are brand new in the box.
Yeah, I'd have pulled the trigger on that too. Easy.
Because in the closet too, I have this little tote with all the original ones from when I was a kid, and I have all their guns and the Zord. The Megazord's missing like the tip of the tail and the little gun that goes in the Triceratops, and that's about it. But I never really got out of Power Rangers. Like, I know LaserPants has this, but like the Mezco Green Ranger, this thing's cool as hell.
Yeah, I was just messing around with it. It's a really nice figure, man.
Did you pre-order the rest of the figures?
No, I didn't get the box set, but when they put this one up, I'm like, I gotta get the Green Ranger. And now they're teasing the White Ranger, and it's like,
well, speaking of JDF, there's another version of him coming very, very, very soon from someone we know very, very, very well. So, Mr. Bobby Valla over at Valaverse is doing 2 JDFs, I believe. So,
one.
I thought there was.
So it's a 2-pack, and it's JDF as the White Dragon, and then the villain.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are getting something new from JDF pretty soon too.
Jeff, you
have to get that.
I'm sure you've seen Bat in the Sun on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. I love
superhero beatdowns. So he made a movie with Jason David Frank called Legend of the White Dragon. It's kind of a tribute to Power Rangers. JDF plays a ranger-looking character called the White Dragon, and Bobby picked up
the white potato.
The white potato, thank you. Bobby Valla picked up the license to do the figures for the movie, and so he posted pictures on the Valaverse Facebook of Jason David Frank's figure without the mask, and the likeness is unreal. He got it. He nailed it.
I think I've seen that because I'm in that group. Yeah, I'm always hyper aware of Jason David Frank stuff.
Yeah, and it's not young Jason; it's Jason as he looked in 2022. So it's a really cool Power Ranger-y looking but unique figure.
I'm gonna get that just to display alongside, because what I'm gonna do with the Power Rangers is I did get that box set with all the Mezco ones, and I really like the build and the quality of them. So I'm gonna keep the figure arts up in their boxes and never really play with them, but I'm going to display these ones and then get the even though I canceled all my Super 7 pre-orders, I might get the villains when they go on clearance, because eventually they will, because I like the scale of the villains better than I like the scale of the Hasbro villains. And I think I'm just going to build like a Power Ranger display and call it a day. I don't think that you can top these figures, because you got these ones in the cloth, you got the dolls, the 3-0 in the cloth. I got those 2. What else is there to do? I mean,
putties. You need an army of putties, man.
Now I'm gonna get an army of putties. Thank you.
Yeah, from Mezco. Yep.
No.
$100 a pop.
What's figure wise? What did you cancel from Super 7?
Oh, the entire Power Rangers line, because Actually, LaserPants, we were out shopping. We went to that vintage toy store.
Oh yeah,
and I had
Bobacon.
seen all the and I saw all those Super 7 figures in person. And then I went and I happened to catch a video maybe a week or two later of somebody getting the physical ones, not the renders, not the pre-order images, and I emailed them directly. And I just said, "Hey, I've seen videos of your product. I do not want this. Please refund me." And they refunded me right before last Christmas, because I used that. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to buy a plane ticket now and go home." But like, I was so disappointed, and like, I canceled the rest of them on Big Bad Toy Store. I don't like the articulation. I don't like the build quality. I don't like the look. I get it. Oh, the excuse people make, they're meant to look like that because they're supposed to be nostalgic like the old toys. I get it, but the diaphragm joints and the articulation look stupid, so I'll pass. I'll get these ones that are roughly the same price and these are more expensive, but these look better. These look like little people in a cloth suit. Those Super 7 ones just don't look that good.
I think Super 7 puts more money into their packaging than they do the actual figure, because they have really nice packaging.
And the thing about Super 7 stuff too is that, I'm not trying to get controversial. I'm not throwing shade at Super 7. Right?
I am.
But yeah, you can if you want. But if you would take the accessory count down a little bit, right? Like instead of all of that shit that comes in the box with the Super 7 Ultimate, right? Give us a little bit more of a bare bones version of that. You know what I mean? Like, the best example I can come up with is the putties, right? How are you going to do an army builder at $55 a piece, right? Like, cut down the amount of accessories that come with those putties, get them down to $29.99 so that people can actually army build them, and you're going to make way more money. But they.
Whatever. They gotta have baseball or football jerseys instead.
Yeah. It's every single one of them. But whatever.
I like what Hasbro used to do when they had the army builders on Pulse. You get like a 2-pack of putties for $40.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But Pulse used to be great for army builder stuff.
Yeah.
Right. The Shield troopers.
Shield, the Hydra Goons, Game Troopers, fantastic. $15 a piece. They had the hand ninjas, $15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were killing it, man. But now, those days are gone. Like the tracksuit mafia guys, like those days are gone, man.
I never saw those tracksuit mafia guys. Never saw them once.
Well, do you remember what they were selling for?
Probably 30. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like that, man. They were really expensive. But I just like now. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that there are some additional accessories that these figures desperately need, right? So like this Bastila Shan, however you want to say it, from the Knights of the Old Republic video game, which I believe is the greatest Star Wars video game that's ever been produced, right? She just has these 2 C-grip hands. One kind of splayed out hand like this, like she's force pushing or something, would have been fantastic, but this is all you get, But she's a good figure.
What's up with her knees? Can you show the knees real quick? Okay. I was just like, well, those knees are very like prominent. Okay.
There's a double in there. It's an ugly double, but those are
reused Holdo legs. No joke. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize she had. Dude, okay, I had this. Not really a theory. It's not a theory. That's the wrong word. But I always felt like Star Wars figures, or just toys in general, they only need to be as engineered as what they do in the film. So, for example, like if you make Imperial officers and they don't have like all the joints that like a Han Solo figure would, I don't think that's a problem. They kind of stand there with their hands behind their back, and that's it. Yeah, but they don't need, like when they do the hips and this and that and the thigh cuts and the swivels, it's like they just stand there. Like stormtroopers need the articulation. General Veers stood there in Empire. Don't give him that. If you make Admiral Ozzel, just make his hand be able to do that. Yeah. And then the rest is,
save all that budget. Put all that into the Jedi and the Stormtrooper, right? Give them the best and the most articulation.
I don't think Stormtroopers really need that much articulation. They have 2 poses. One with the gun like this, and then on their back, right? And then that's that's it. Or like you have another pose like this when they hit their head on a door.
One of the coolest Stormtroopers ever made was in a Micro Machine set. It was, I don't remember if it was the Chewbacca head that would open it up, and it had the little minifigures and Micro Machines in it, or if it was a Stormtrooper head. but one of the minifigures was a dead stormtrooper on his back with his blaster in his hand. Like,
dude, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we used to have that. Yeah,
I love that thing. It's like a dead stormtrooper.
I'd buy a dead stormtrooper these days if they just
Hell yeah.
re-release that kind of stuff. I'm guilty. Like, I don't go on about Star Wars, but like I bought this recently, so I still like Star Wars enough that I'll pick up. Yeah, this one. I was at my Walmart buying milk, and I was like, I'm gonna go see what they got because I was gonna film a toy video if there was anything of note. And I was like, well, Han Solo is always a favorite. And,
well, I just picked up Indoor Leia just a couple of days ago.
The 6-inch scale.
Yeah, which actually puts her at 3.5 because that's a tiny human being. But yeah, I got the not the end ceremony, not the end celebration Leia, but the one with her camouflage poncho and the helmet and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
I bought the original release of that.
That's a good figure. You know what I did notice? Because they had the end celebration Leia there, and I was looking at that figure. I was looking at the head sculpt, and I was like, man, that looks really good. It looks a lot like her. But then I was like, it looks a whole lot like 11 from Stranger Things too. I think both of them have a very, very similar face.
They do, yeah.
Which is, maybe we could start using her instead of CGI monster Leia for stuff in the future, because that was, God, Rogue One.
CGI monster Leia.
God, Rogue One was, God, and Tarkin too. That should have, no.
I don't like that stuff.
No,
Hayden Christensen and the new Ahsoka looked weird as well.
Dude, you know what would have worked for Rogue One if those scenes where Tarkin actually has speaking, like speaking roles, if he was just facing away from the camera, right, with his hands behind his back, you know what I mean, in that Tarkin pose, but we can see his reflection in the glass. Right, or the plasteel, whatever they call it in Star Wars, right? If we can see his reflection as he's monitoring the space battle or whatever, that effect would have worked seamlessly.
Jeremy, I believe it's transparasteel.
Transparasteel, it's not plasteel. Okay, yeah, I don't know where plasteel came from, but anyway, but yeah, that would have been great. Don't show that face. It doesn't work the way a human face should. And the same thing with Leia, man.
Or just recast it, or just don't put him in it.
Right.
Even that, Yeah.
Right. This could have straight up been a Vader movie. All the things that Tarkin had to do could have just been Vader, to be honest. So
I thought the way they handled Tarkin in Episode 3, where it was the other guy with the makeup that made his cheeks look gaunt and they shot him from far away, that looked more like Grand Moff Tarkin to me than a CGI puppet that had Peter Cushing's liver spots and texture and hair pores and all that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to the Indiana Jones thing. It always looks off. It never looks real. And Lucasfilm's got to stop. Like, I get it. You want to push the envelope with technology, but come on, guys. It never turns out that way.
There, where I saw it and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And then that's when they did it to Robert Downey Jr. in that Iron Man movie. When they did the digital de-aging, when he's going through that, showing all those people that segment of his life, right? And what had happened. And I saw that one and I was like, whoa, that's very, very interesting.
Well, it helped that he was actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he wasn't dead like Peter Cushing.
Yeah. Well, Harrison Ford's still alive and they did the de-aging on him. But I mean, his face is so much different than it used to be. His nose is so much, and I know I got no room to talk, but his nose is so much larger and bulbous almost than it used to be, right? And his ears are like this long now for some reason. But I guess that's what they say. I think they say your ears and your nose never stop growing, so I'm fucked. But anyway, I feel like I've been going on a rant about digital de-aging.
Are you like 90 years old right now?
I have the nose of a 90-year-old, right? It's a weird thing to say. I've said all those words before, but just not in that combination. It was, it was weird.
I guess, do you think Star Wars is going to have a comeback in terms of like collecting? Because it's not like dead like it used to be, but it's not as big as like people are like dying to pick up these figures. Like, you think once we get to the 50th anniversary of Star Wars in 4 years, they might try one last time to, I don't know, re-engineer the classics, come up with some new stuff, and really do something big with it?
At this point, it's like, what else are you going to do? Like really, what else is there to do? You know, how many Black Series Luke Skywalkers exist out there?
Too many.
You know, the different. Yeah, it's how many Han Solos? No, there's multiple Chewbacca's, right? That costume doesn't change very often. And
just once in Return of the Jedi, he like parts his hair differently.
Yeah, and there's like 4 or 5 Chewbacca's out there from the Black Series. So it's like, honestly, what else are you going to do at this point?
As far as Star Wars, I mean, everything's been done. As far as scale, I mean, they've gotten vehicles out there, especially in the Clone Wars era. They were putting out amazing 3 3/4 inch scale vehicles and tons of figures. I don't think we're going to see those days come back because manufacturing is so much more expensive now, and the cost of stuff has gone so high. But I think if something is going to save Star Wars toys, it's going to be Star Wars media that people care about.
Right. You have to. So I remember. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I just mean like new movies, new shows, new video games. And Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, the first one, I played the first one pretty good. Haven't played the second one yet.
Right.
But as far as movies, there hasn't been one since Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. And that trilogy is done. Stuff from that trilogy doesn't sell. Mando has run its course. Season 3 killed Mandalorian. No one cares about Boba Fett or the Rogue One guy show.
Andor.
Andor. They have to bring Star Wars back to what it was. So I don't know if they can do that, and that will save the toys.
So my personal take on that: the last time that I was actually excited about Star Wars was, what was that, 2019 when Mando premiered?
Yeah.
And I remember watching that show, and I was like, "It's back! It's like Star Wars is back. This is amazing." And you know, I think it was almost like an experiment. You know, can you do Star Wars without the Millennium Falcon? Can you do Star Wars without someone named Skywalker? Can you do an entire series without one lightsaber being seen? Right. And I was 100% on board with it. And when the Darksaber showed up at the very end, I had no idea what that was, and so I had to do some research into it. But that first, that first season of Mando, I had everything, right? All the figures. I needed to army build stormtroopers again because I needed multiple, stormtroopers for Mando to shoot at and all that. But that was the last time I've legitimately been excited about Star Wars, but it did cause me to act in that way that Ryan was talking about. I pre-ordered everything. I needed all of it now. Right. Gimme.
So I do want to just address something in the chat. When I say everything's been done, I mean, someone mentioned they haven't done Jabba's palace guards. Fine. They could put out Jabba's palace guards. That'd be cool. I'd get them. I don't think that would make everything exciting again and save Star Wars toys.
Has Black Series ever done a Boba Fett?
I mean, more than 30 times? Probably.
How much usage are you going to get out of that fucking tooling, man?
Have you seen what they charge for the new one now?
Dude, like, I know. I saw it at GameStop. I saw it at GameStop for like $32.99.
Boba Fett ain't worth it. I bought the original release at a Disney store, and that was good enough for me.
And it came with more. Same figure, but it came with more accessories. And they took that out, they put it on a retro card, and they charged the same, like $30-some.
Yeah, I bought the deluxe one because it came with like the flame effect to put in his jetpack, and like maybe the cutoff gun that Luke would have hit with his lightsaber.
Yeah.
When Return of the Jedi stuff came out, was it last year in the Black Series? I bought a couple things. I bought the Han, Luke, and Leia. I never buy Darth Vader. I don't know what it is. I like Darth Vader. I think he's an awesome character. But I think I only buy New Hope Darth Vader. There's something, I like the suit more than I like and there's just slight differences, I know. But I always like that
very
Darth
slight,
Vader.
For Black Series, I think the Rancor, now let me finish my thought here before the chat blows up on me. I think the Rancor was a step in the right direction, but what I think didn't work was the price tag and the fact that it was a crowdfund, a HasLab. You know, I like if you're going to do Black Series, you have to get into bigger stuff. Now, can people afford it? Do they have the space for it? That's on the toy company to make it affordable somehow, right? The 350 was outrageous for a Rancor. But you asked what could save the line. That's I don't know. What's going to reinvigorate kids to want Star Wars toys again? You got to have good media.
Yeah, I don't think you can, like, Star Wars. It's weird how, because somebody in the chat had asked about, do I think I'll ever see new properties at the store? If you pay attention to what's on the store shelves, it's for guys our age and slightly older and slightly younger. Because when you walk down a toy aisle right now, you will find the Ninja Turtles, you will find He-Man, you will find Star Wars characters that aren't around anymore, like even Carrie Fisher, R.I.P. You'll find wrestlers. Like, wrestling is probably the toy line that has the best blend of old and new. But other than that, if you walk down your average toy aisle, you're going to see stuff that hasn't been new in decades. And because it's the people like us that are buying it, I don't think kids are ever going to go back to toys. Technology has overtaken that. I prefer, like, if I had kids now, I would rather start them out on toys, because the imagination that comes with it is so much better than what you're going to get from an iPad or whatever bullshit streaming you're going to show them. I mean, I remember as a kid, I would set up my Star Wars figures, I'd write my own story. Years later, I've written my own book. So it's like that stuff fosters that creativity at an early age. And I just don't think people will take enough time these days to, like, set their kids up on that stuff. They're like, here's an iPad. Here's a Roblox account. Let me get you some DLC. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
And even when parents do take the time to try to get their kids into toys, if they have a Nintendo Switch or an iPad, it's going to be hard to take their attention from that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So,
well, I mean, you got to think though too. The when I was a kid, the Nintendo Entertainment System was a big, no pun intended, game changer as far as the things that I wanted going forward.
Yeah.
I wanted new video games and that kind of stuff. I mean, I still wanted toys too, but it was definitely a factor back then, especially when those cartridges were like, I mean, some of those Nintendo cartridges were going for like $60, and higher. So, and you got to think about 1987 money at the time. A $60 Nintendo cartridge. That's a significant amount of money.
That's a lot, dude. I remember Super Nintendo, Super Return of the Jedi for Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
like $75 in 1993, 1994. That was a lot of money.
Freaking classic, though. Freaking classic.
Love that game.
Yeah, that was worth the money.
Oh, all day long.
I remember beating that. Oh yeah, that was out of the Super Star Wars series. That was the first one. Yeah.
It was the easiest one, honestly, because Empire was stupid hard. Like,
oh man, the first two, Star Wars and Empire was super hard to beat.
Never beat them. I just gave up. The Indiana Jones one was pretty hard as well.
Yeah, that one was too. I remember the Nintendo 64 indie game as well. Which one was that one? It was like
Infernal Machine.
The Infernal Machine. Yeah, that was a fun game though.
It only it just had bad controls. It controlled like Tomb Raider, where you like turn and then walk forward and then you stop and turn. And I rented it from Blockbuster because I believe that game only was released through Blockbuster to rent, and like the boxed version or something's like super expensive because it's like a hard to get game. It wasn't released, universally like the PC version was.
Right.
And I liked that game enough, but the Emperor's Tomb, the one that followed it up a couple years later on the Xbox and PS2, I still play that game. That got a remaster.
No, I'm
that's
sorry.
The shit.
That's the one I was talking about. The Emperor.
Oh, okay, that game's awesome.
not the other one. The other one where you had to like, you remember like the inflatable raft that was like in your inventory and you had to. Oh God, Jesus, that was bad. But yeah, the one on original Xbox was chef's kiss. I had so much fun with that.
It's still the best indie game. Like, dude, like I said, when I got a Series X, I was like, wait, you can play Indiana Jones in full HD, backwards compatible? I bought a brand new copy of that game. Like, I loved it. Mm-hmm. It's weird, like, they used to know how to keep a property alive for such a long time because they would give you little nibbles here and there. Even with Star Wars, like, I got into Star Wars when there was no special edition and there was no prequels yet, but you still had, like, the toy line had just been re-released. You had the Shadows of the Empire come out the next year to get you excited. Then you had the video game and the special edition, and like they just kept adding stuff until the movies came out. Same with indie. There was like, maybe you didn't get an indie movie for most of my life, but it's like, oh wait, you can get these games, you can get the PC games, the comic book. Like, I miss when they would just keep stuff around instead of like giving you this huge marketing blitz, and if it doesn't work, it's dead. It's like, well, it didn't work. Nobody likes it anymore. We're just not going to invest in it. And that's what happens with a lot of these things that I still think people would buy if it was just handled differently.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, gents, we're at an hour and a half. I have to get going, but I'll still be in the chat though. But I got to get off of here. But hey, Jeff, thank you very much for having me on the channel, man. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat. I know I've seen a lot of familiar faces, from Loose But Complete and 3PO8 here. But if you've never heard of us before and you are a collector, please come check us out over at 3POA. Every other Saturday and every other Wednesday, we got shows going on over there specifically about the toy industry and toy collecting as a hobby in general. So, but yeah,
the link is in the description, folks. Believe me, I want people to find you guys. The link is in the description of this stream right now. So
thanks,
we made
Jeff.
it even easier for you. Oh, you guys are great. I mean, I was a fan. I watch this stuff. You guys, Retro Blasting, and only a handful of other toy producers do I actually enjoy watching. So,
awesome.
Jeremy, I know you got to go, man, but thanks for joining us. It's been a blast.
Yep. Thank you very much again for having me. Good night, everybody. Like I said, I'll be in the chat, so I will see y'all later.
Later, man.
See you, man. Bye. Oh, dude, this has
Finally.
been fun. I know, right?
Can we start the show now?
Yeah, sure.
Like right
so
now?
anyway,
Okay.
the toys I wanted to talk about, this Batman I got.
Oh, man, that's an old Mattel thing, huh?
Yeah, so I was at a used toy store, and it was buy two, get one free anything, so I bought these two indie figures, and then I took this
Okay.
one home for free, so...
Man, I haven't seen one of
was
those
like,
Mattel figures in a long time.
Yeah, it's... let me just take off the little price sticker, because I don't need
Those
it.
used to sit around Toys R Us for ages.
Dude, they were at Ollie's forever, too. Like, when
Yeah.
Ollie's first started showing up in my neighborhood, I just really like the Super Friends cartoon.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Before my time, but I really love it. But
They weren't quite up to the level of Marvel Legends, and I don't necessarily mean like sculpt and paint, but like articulation. Right? They're quite a bit more simple, maybe even dated, but a lot of them were really nice.
One day I'm going to get the whole set of Superman,
Yeah.
Green Lantern, and Aquaman to complement Batman, but I'm never going to open it. I'm just going to keep it over there.
I have a tub in the garage full of a bunch of stuff I never opened. I might have a couple of those in there. I'll look for you. I'll send them to you. I don't even care.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm going to get my P.O. box set up. I'll give you my real address. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I want to get that P.O. box set up because one thing I wanted to give a shout out to Salvador is when he sent me a WCBS box, he took my voice and put it on one of those little like greeting card chips. So when you open the box, it would play my voice, "Welcome to World Class Bullshitters," and then Axel F played. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah, I was freaking out. Like, oh my God. So I was just like, dude, you rock.
Cool. Yeah, he's man, Sal's a good friend to have. He's always sending stuff. Very
he's
very
great.
generous. Yeah.
I'm going to try to get everyone together again because I wanted Sal to join, but he's only available for certain nights of the week because of work.
Right.
And I know Jeremy was only available specific nights of the week with his work and travel and stuff. So I would like this to be the first of some more collector streams. If you're available, that's awesome. If not, we'll get you at other times. But I want to do, it's just nice to talk about other stuff because, yeah, I'm passionate about entertainment and it's great to talk about art. But I really do like to, collect stuff. Like somebody in the chat asked if I got any of these animated Spider-Man figures. Well, here's Spidey right here himself. You and I have had some fun toy hunting. I'm sad we never got to go to Frank & Sons. My pal Enrique in the chat, and he took me there right before I left California. That place was cool. A little expensive, but really cool.
Well, it depends on the vendor in the place because it's a collection of vendors. There's one lady in there that only sells NECA, and so if you're looking for a NECA figure, she has like everything, and they're all retail price. But I think I went the same weekend as you. I was there the day before, and it's funny. I looked all around that place for a couple hours, didn't really find anything I wanted. But my kid left with like a bag of stuff, including a Not the Nintendo DS, the one that came out, the 3DS. He got like a new 3DS there from some guy. He made out like a bandit. But I couldn't believe I left Frankenstein without buying anything.
I was surprised too. The guy at the Star Wars, one of the Star Wars booths, recognized me. He's like, "Hey, I got a thing of Rose Tico's back here if you want to buy it." And I'm like, I was like, "Oh wait, you watched the video? Shit."
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. We talked about Star Wars toys for probably 40 minutes. Enrique was just, checking out the other stuff. I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, you're here to hang out with me. Sorry, dude, I got sidetracked."
He was talking about how he can't sell them.
Honestly, yeah, that's really what it was. We were just talking about like how nobody wants this stuff. I wonder why the people that defended these movies so hardcore a few years back didn't, go out and buy this stuff or doesn't continue to buy this stuff.
It's almost like they're not real fans. They don't care about Star Wars. Or they don't have money. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
It's a combination of both, but I'm not here to judge. We're not that kind of channel.
Nope.
Even though we have, you guys were talking about some of your detractors. I have this one guy. I won't say his name on air. I'll tell you off air because you'll know him exactly. But he will comment on all our stuff and bitch and complain. He's been doing it for 4 years now, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But then he'll tag me and want me to show up on his show. I'm like, why would I show up on your show if you're so hostile? What do you want out of me, man?
It's like, why are you here? You're just here to be combative. We're hanging out having a good time. I don't get that. But I mean, hey, they're clicking on your channel. They're giving you the view. So
doesn't hurt me. It's just weird. I consider this guy my stalker. Retroblasted knows him very well, and he's like, "Oh, that guy." It's like I said, as soon as I say the name, you'll go, "Oh, that guy." He's interesting, but no, man. It's just funny how sometimes this sphere, this toy collecting sphere, can get so cutthroat.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you though, because I won't draw this stream out super super long tonight. Did you back that Back to the Future Tomy DeLorean, the 6-inch scale or 7-inch scale DeLorean?
I couldn't back that thing fast enough. I absolutely backed that. That is like a dream come true for me to have a DeLorean in scale with my Back to the Future figures. First of all, when NECA started making Back to the Future figures, they're far from perfect, but they're pretty damn good, and I really like.
Doc looks great.
Yeah, I really like what I have. To have a DeLorean that fits with them, I was like, sign me up. How much? $300? I'm in.
I got
really
it too.
Easy. Yeah, you got two?
No, as well. I meant to say, I got it as well. I don't need two of the cars. I'm not one of those people. Look, there's a limit to if I bought two of these Han Solos because I was like, you know what? I'll play with one. I'll probably lose interest in it, but I'll keep one in the box since it looks nice. Yeah. But if it's really pricey, I don't get two of anything. I'm the kind of guy if I buy a $100 figure, it rarely comes out of the box. Like my Mayfek stuff, I got the X-Men in the closet back there. I haven't even opened Storm. She's never left the box, nor Magneto, honestly. But I look at them and I'll look at him like this and then put him back in the box. Yep, that's my Magneto right there.
Magneto, he's so good.
Dude, I love that whole line. It's
so good. But back to the DeLorean, at the same time or around the same time, Hasbro was doing the Dragonfly, the HasLab Dragonfly from G.I. Joe, 6-inch scale. It's like a big helicopter, right? Looked really cool. I would have loved to have it. But it was between the DeLorean or that Dragonfly, the helicopter. It was no contest, man. Because I'm not going to buy both because they were each $300 about that. So, yeah, I had to pass on that Dragonfly. But, man, I'm excited for that DeLorean. Have you been keeping up with it? Is there any updates on when they're going to fulfill? I know it's only been a couple months, but...
It's supposed to... I'm pretty sure it's next year. It was... Okay. I knew it was a big wait time, but I can be patient if it's going to be done right. I'm a firm believer, yes, I get it. People want to back something and get it right away, but I'm of the mind, it right away, but if it takes time to produce something of a high quality to make sure it all is right, I can wait. Because once it's there, like Miyamoto says, a bad game is bad forever. A delayed game is just delayed for a short period of time. And you don't even think about it once you have the product in your hand. So,
yeah,
it's kind of the mentality I have.
Die-cast, full of lights. They're trying to make it as accurate as they can, screen accurate, right? It's got smoke effects for the exhaust. I'll wait a year. That's fine. I just hope I don't die first. That's all. Just no World War III until after I get the DeLorean, please.
Yeah, it's like once we get that car in our hands, then everything else can fall apart.
Right.
The thing I'm the most excited about is I refused to buy the hot toy on principle. I have the hot toy Marty McFly figure, but my first car cost as much as the hot toy DeLorean, and on principle I could not allow myself to buy a toy car for the same amount of money that I paid for a real car that I got many years of use out of. Right. So I know it's a weird thing. Some people are like, oh, you don't love Back to the Future as much as you claim. I do. I just have weird principles on certain topics, and that happened to be one of them.
Wasn't that so hot toy, so 1/6 scale? Wasn't that DeLorean like over $1,000?
It was 1,000. I think it was just 1,000. But my first car was just a '92 Toyota Camry, and that was $1,000. And I thought,
yeah,
no,
that's
no.
Yeah. Well, that the Camry was a better buy.
Hey, the Camry got me from here to Michigan State, down to Virginia, and around the country for a couple years. So it was a good car. R.I.P. I never named my car, so it died. Oh. My Volkswagen that I replaced it with recently died as well before I left California, so I just left it. I felt terrible about it.
I used to name my cars. I had I remember when I was a teenager, I had a red Nissan pickup, and I called it Red Rocket, like that Reverend Horton Heat song. And then later on, I got like a tan Toyota Tacoma, and I called it Champagne Supernova.
Ah, nice.
Freaking corny, but hey, thanks, Hopkins. That's nice of you to say, man. Appreciate that.
Oasis is a legit band. Kendo on the show, he is a huge fan of Oasis, so we'll talk about it just randomly if we're together having a couple drinks. But he doesn't really like Wonderwall that much. So if you bring up Wonderwall, he's like, it's a fine song, but I prefer. He'll say Champagne Supernova or Don't Look Back in Anger, or any of those other ones, you know.
Well, I mean, so many of those '90s like top 40 hits, whether it's a known band or a one-hit wonder. I don't know about you, but man, radio just played them out. I can't even hear Wonderwall without like, oh, come on, or anything from Pearl Jam. Oh, turn it off, man. I've heard. I live in Seattle, so there's a lot of Pearl Jam here, man. Oh God, and it's not that they're a horrible
concert
band.
I ever left early.
Yeah, it's not that Pearl Jam's a horrible band, but you hear something over and over again. It's like you're gonna lose. I'm gonna lose my mind if I have to hear Jeremy one more time. The song, not my co-host.
Dude. I understand where you're coming from. My song that I never listen to again is Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas. Oh. I heard that song probably 500 times the summer of 1999, and so every time I hear dun, 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 I'm like, nope, turn it off. I have no tolerance for that song. Like my least favorite song, and I know this will probably get some ire from the chat, but a song I do not like that most people love is "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses. I don't like that song at all.
Not a fan. Yeah, me neither.
Thank God. Everyone's like, how do you not like that song? Because I just don't. I've only heard it 55 times, and I'm just like, I don't ever want to listen to this. Like Welcome to the Jungle, I can take other songs, but I do not want to listen to that one. That's my...
Guns N' Roses has a lot of great songs, but I wouldn't put Sweet Child of Mine at the top, personally.
You know what the funny part is? I learned that song was hugely popular when I was born, so maybe something was going on and my mom heard it a bunch. When I was born, it just was like, no.
It was her favorite song.
My mom in rock music? Oh, God, no. If I listed you off the shit she listened to, or stuff I heard her listening to growing up, people would be like, what is this? Who is Enigma? Well, they're a French music group, believe me. You've heard their one song. Mm-hmm. You ever seen in Tropic Thunder, you know that random song that plays during the Satan's Alley credit sequence when Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire are kissing? That's the band. I heard that song growing up as a kid. That's not some incidental music for the movie. She had that album, and that song is like 12 minutes long because it starts that part, and then it plays something else, and then it goes back into that again. Now as an adult, I can laugh because of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
But I had some scars as a kid.
Well, yeah.
I'm just looking at the chat now because everyone's chiming in about music they love or hate. Dr. Coffinails hates Guns N' Roses. I went to high school with Bill Axl Rose Bailey. What a jerk.
Is that his real name, Bill Bailey?
Dr. Coffinails, why haven't you told me that? He came up to Horror Hound in Indianapolis. We all went to dinner and had a nice time on Suit Saturday, and that never came up. Dr. Coffinails, you have my number. Text me and tell me more about this.
Huh.
To answer the question, though, to Enrique in the chat, Tomy, Tomy, I think they're Japanese. They're the ones that made the DeLorean that we just backed.
Yeah, so they ran a Kickstarter, and I backed the Kickstarter, but it ended, I think, back in July. But just because the Kickstarter's over, I think they'll still probably be available through Tomy's website around the time they start shipping, because I doubt they only ordered enough to fulfill Kickstarter orders.
Not with something like Back to the Future. That's such an evergreen franchise. That's a franchise that doesn't screw up. It's like when NECA released their figures, the hype was so high. The only thing I think NECA screwed up on was doing the animated ones, because nobody bought those.
I don't even remember the animated show as a kid.
I watched it because I had the McDonald's toys, and so I didn't have a regular DeLorean. I had a McDonald's DeLorean, and Doc Brown like hung out the window, and if you moved it, it like shot sparks out of what the vents would be. Like it had like, the vents on the back, they were clear plastic, and so when you moved it, they all like sparked. It was a cool toy, but that was my only Back to the Future piece of merchandise as a child.
Yeah, for as many toy lines as there were for movies and cartoons in the 80s, it's crazy they never made one for Back to the Future back then. Like, no movie line. Kind of like Ghostbusters, right? They never made a movie line. They made a cartoon line, but the movie line didn't come till decades later, right?
Yeah, isn't Mattel the first one to do it back in, 08, 09?
Might be, yeah. Yeah.
Now, I imagine, folks, put on your what-if caps for a moment. If there was a Ghostbusters toy line in the 80s, I like to imagine it would look like the Dune toys from LJN, where they kind of look like the actors, but they kind of don't, and they're, like about this tall. That would have been cool, but I don't know how they would have done and they all would have done the single arm, to hold the proton pack. They probably would have sucked in hindsight, but they'd be cool.
Hasbro, this is later on, I think late 80s, early 90s, but they started putting other IPs into the G.I. Joe line, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, right?
I remember that.
It would have been cool. Yeah, it would have been cool if Hasbro would have done like a Ghostbusters or a Back to the Future line in their G.I. Joe type of line, right? Because then you would have got those awesome figures with all the good articulation that G.I. Joe had in the 80s, and they made awesome vehicles, right? That would have been...
DeLorean from Hasbro back in the day. I had to ask my mom for that one. I'm like, Mom, I got to get this car. I used to refer to it as the car. I was like, I got to get the car. So,
Man, but it was so rare to see one of those in real life as a kid. Even now, I mean, there's a DeLorean Motor Company here, like I think in Bellevue. So it's not that rare to see them in my area. But as a kid, if you saw a DeLorean, it was like, holy shit, that's a DeLorean. Mom, slow down the car. I just saw a DeLorean.
I used to, when I went to high school, my freshman year, I had to get dropped off for the bus because it was on the other side of town. And we drove by a house that had a DeLorean every day. And no matter what, if I was not feeling going to school or anything, I always would look over at the DeLorean and go, cool. Because it was a nice house. It had a pool and a DeLorean. I wanted that life. I still kind of do.
That guy was probably selling cocaine.
Yeah, just like John DeLorean.
Right?
I don't think I can fit in a DeLorean. That's the sad part.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to go to Michael's house. Retro Blasting, he's got one. You can test it out. But yeah, probably not. I think they're pretty small. Even like if Michael J. Fox fills out that front seat, it's not looking good for me or you.
No, he's a foot shorter than I am. So
right, yeah.
Now, luckily, my ultimate dream movie car, the Aston Martin DB5, is kind of big because Sean Connery was 6'3" or 6'2", and then I've seen other Aston Martins in person. Those are not tiny sports cars. Like I saw an early 2000s Vanquish, and I was like, wow, I can fit in this car. So like, there's hope for me with like the higher end James Bond stuff. But if it's a DeLorean or like an 85 Toyota, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to live without my Back to the Future stuff.
You're going to have your knees up like next to your ears getting in that thing,
It's not the flux capacitor, it's my shoulders. Like, yeah that's me in the DeLorean driving. I went to all the filming locations, and I was like, man, it would be so cool to be doing this in a DeLorean. And then I had that same thought of, I can't fit in a DeLorean. But, I would rather be this
last
size
time I was
than
in
fit in a DeLorean.
California.
Dude, I wish we could have met up because I didn't live too far from a lot of them. Some of them were only a 35-minute, maybe an hour tops drive. And like we went to Twin Pines Mall, we went to Strickland's house, we went to Doc's house, we went to Marty's house. It's crazy. Like, I think my favorite neighborhood to visit though was the Halloween neighborhood because it's out in Pasadena, and you can see like the Michael Myers house has been moved to the end of the street, but like all the other things, it's like you're walking through the movie. It's kind of cool. And I also used to live by the Nightmare on Elm Street house, and that's bizarre because it's right off of Hollywood Boulevard. Like you're at the Walk of Fame, and you go like 2 or 3 streets down to make a left, and you look on the left-hand side, and it's just there.
Huh.
Like it's kind of bizarre. It's very surreal. Let me rephrase that. It's not bizarre. It's surreal.
We did go to the Clock Tower at Universal Studios, so we did that whole bus tour thing through there.
Oh, I love that.
That movie set. But speaking of Back to the Future and toys, I want to ask you. So it seems like NECA might be kind of done with Back to the Future. Granted, they could probably never do Crispin Glover, right? Because he hates that movie. He's never signed over his likeness to, I think, any toy line ever. But what character would you want to kind of fill out the collection?
Well, we got Doc, Marty, and Biff, and we'll take George out of the equation. And without George, I don't really want Lorraine. And we're just sticking from the first movie or any of the movies?
Anything, man. They never made one from Back to the Future 3.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't have even purchased the Back to the Future 3 line. I just don't like that movie. It's fine. Like, it's better than a lot of other movies. It's not a bad film at all, but I don't like it as much as the other two. And I like with the Hot Toys. I have Marty. I'm going to get Doc. I'm going to get other figures, but never anything from part 3. I guess my answer would, I want to either say like, if they would release them, this is pie in the sky, like a 2-pack of the Libyans with the van, I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That. Maybe. Oh wait, I know my one answer would be Jennifer, because that way you can have Marty and Jennifer and Doc, and you can do the end of the movie. The roads where we're going, we don't need roads scene. So Jennifer, first Jennifer though, Claudia Wells, not Elizabeth Shue, even though I think she's a good actress.
Elizabeth Shue's great, but man, Claudia Wells in that first movie, super fine, man. Super fine. Love Jennifer.
Oh, like Marty was I understood why Marty needed to get Back to the Future for her, because she
So if I could choose one more character from the trilogy to fill up my NECA collection, it would be Back to the Future Strickland with the shotgun. Right? That's like I wish they would have made any Strickland, because I love that character. But Back to the Future 2 Strickland with the shotgun. Get back here, slackers!
The school burned down 8 years ago.
Yeah.
If I can throw another one on, even though I'm not a Super 7 fan, they did 1985 alternate Biff, which I bought the little 3 3/4 inch version of. I'd have bought a nicer, like a NECA scale 1985 alternate Biff, because I love that scene in the Pleasure Palace. Shit, I did buy every Back to the Future figure that they made from NECA. I'd have bought more and more and more. I'd have bought Billy Zane and 3D and the other guy. What was his name? I just had his name.
Biff Gang, yeah,
the Biff Gang, or Lorraine's friend, or Terry. Honestly, I almost said Mayor Goldie Wilson when you asked me that question at first, but I'm like, do I really want a Mayor Goldie Wilson action figure?
I mean, that every character in those movies is so memorable.
I agree.
Yeah, Strickland for me.
Dude, Back to the Future 2 is so much fun. I love that movie.
I love and listen, 2 and 3 always get maligned. I don't get the hate for 2. I love Back to the Future 2, man. Absolutely love it.
There was a point in time where it was my favorite one, and then also 2. I believe Back to the Future 2 is probably the movie, even though people may dislike it, it's the one that most people think about, because they bring up the hoverboard and they bring up stuff from part 2, and they go. And they don't even realize it, because I understand the car flies in the first movie at the very end. I've seen it more than I need to. But I still associate the flying DeLorean with part 2 more than I do part 1. So when you think of the flying car, the hoverboards, and all that other stuff, Back to the Future, I think the public perception of it is kind of a blend of those first two. And I don't even know if many people have seen part 3. I'm sure it does get its hate. I'm not one of the biggest fans, but I do know that it I don't think it resonates with people the same way because it's a Western. I don't know if Westerns are,
It's a Western, and I feel like it hits too many of the same beats as the other movies. Like, there's a lot of parallels between 1 and 2, but when you do it a third time, it might kind of... It's already kind of run its course, but I still really enjoy Back to the Future 3.
I've never watched it on 4K yet.
I don't have the 4K Blu-rays of that yet.
They look great.
I should have gotten. I feel like I know why Claudia was replaced by Elizabeth Shue, but I don't remember why.
Her mom was sick, and she chose to not come back.
That's what it is. Yeah, I saw that in a documentary or something.
I've met her. I used to live by her boutique. Claudia Wells had just a boutique in L.A., and I was at a bar. Because, I lived off of this one street, but if you went down Ventura Boulevard and you just kept driving, you could get to Universal and a ton of different places. And so if you walked far enough, there it was, the Claudia Wells boutique. It had her name on the front. I never went in because when I walked by, it was closed. But, I probably, if she was in there, I'd have bought something stupid just to take a picture with her and be like, hey, Back to the Future. I love it. Yeah.
Or is it like Pawn Stars? Like she's never actually at the shop. Because if you go to Vegas, you go to the Pawn Stars place, they're never there. In fact, they don't even film there. They film on a set that's a replica of that store.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. It's completely
I haven't
fake.
watched that show in years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So is there anything you're looking forward to coming out in the future? Let's say this year. Like, what's your 2 or 3 biggest, most hyped pieces of 2023?
Well, listen, I'm going to admit it up front. I'm biased because my friend owns the company, but I'm really looking forward to the Legends of the White Dragons figure, with Jason David Frank. But, it's Mezco, so they're probably going to be late, but I'm really looking forward to their Robin. They have a Damian Wayne Robin coming out that I pre-ordered. I have 10 Mezco Batmans. I would like at least one Robin, and I would like them to do... Tim Drake is my favorite, but I would take an early Dick Grayson Robin, Nightwing. I think they tease Nightwing, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to adding a Robin to my shelf. What else is coming out that I have pre-ordered? I have to look at my pre-order list. Jeez, put me on the spot here, Jeff.
Well, this was an interesting year for collectibles. As I moved, I still kept up with most of my stuff. I still never opened my McFarlane Batmobile. It's in the shipping container from Big Bad Toy Store.
Yeah.
Now that came quickly. That arrived right away.
Did you get the one from the Flash movie or the one that came with Batman?
Yeah. The Flash.
Yeah.
Even though the cockpit's the wrong color. You brought up Mezco. I bought the Michael Keaton Mezco. I accidentally bought 2 of them. I thought I bought 5 of them by mistake. And so I was like, hey guys, if I have all these extras, I'll sell it to you for the exact price you would pay from the place. But I only ended up getting 2. And I think the one I opened is funky. His head won't clip over the cape. So it's not a great, the engineering of the toy is pretty shitty, but the sculpting is awesome. I'm really happy with the look of it. So I bought that figure for the car.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have the Hot Toys equivalent. I've literally never played with it. Well, what I do is I kind of just futz with the cape to put it over his shoulders, and then I'll turn it in the movie where he turns his body because he can't turn his neck. And that's about the extent of my playing with Batman. It's just da-da-da-da-da. I don't even need half the accessories it comes with, the little gas capsules and stuff. It's great. It's a premium toy. But
when he goes to look at something, he has to arch his back to look up, because he can't bend his neck. I love that. But I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a company called Hiya Toys.
I do. I actually follow them closely. I like some of their stuff.
Okay, so they're getting into the 1/12 scale, and they're doing a Rambo with it's like Mezco style, soft goods. So Rambo from First Blood. I have that one on pre-order. It was supposed to be here in August, so I'm waiting on that one. I'm really excited for that one because of all the movies that I love. I mean, I love Rambo. I have figures from most of the movies that I love, but not Rambo. Right? So this will be my first Rambo. I'm really looking forward to that.
I like Hyatt toys because they don't charge you through the nose for some of this stuff. Like I've seen some of their figures for what are they, $20 for like their aliens figures?
Yeah,
or
and those
like
the smaller 3 3/4 ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And they look really good for what you get. I mean, the paint's there. I felt like it was worth the money because I don't want to be like this anti-Hasbro guy, but a lot of times I buy their figures and I don't think they're worth the money, especially some of the higher end Marvels or like the Power Rangers. Their villains didn't even come painted. That's why I didn't buy them at full price. I got them at Ollie's for $15 or $10. But highest stuff, I gravitate towards what has the best paint apps and what, you talk about bang for your buck. I am willing to spend money on a toy if it looks good, if it's engineered well. So,
yeah, I think I threw some paint on most of my Power Rangers villains, like the King Sphinx and the Pumpkin Wrapper. They came missing paint apps intentionally. Like they couldn't spring for a couple paint apps on them.
That's what I keep pointing to. I have Pumpkin Wrapper. I have like another shelf over here. I won't show it because it's a mess and it's not mainly toys. But Pumpkin Wrapper and King Sphinx are up there on top, and I don't think I'll ever open them. And if I do, I will pull out like a picture and try to paint the nose and the eyes and shit on King Sphinx because it's Hasbro. They have no excuse. Come on, man. Like, we're the age. Like, I remember being in grade school and high school thinking, man, why do they keep making Transformers? Why do they keep making this and that? Now I get it because I have the disposable income. It's like, do I need another Megazord? No. Will I buy it? Yes. Like, I know no bounds with this stuff. So,
yeah, and Power Rangers is something they own outright. They're not paying a licensor to make the toys. So it's like, put a little extra effort in it,
Yeah.
I mean, paint apps aren't that much.
No. We're going to read the super chats, folks, and we're going to close this one out. But I wanted to answer something real quick before we do. First off, thank you to everybody in the chat who's joined us tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Chronically Online wants to know how to contact us. It's worldclassbs@mail.com. You send us an email with whatever your question is, and I'll get it, or somebody will forward it to me, and I'll get back with you. Also, too,
I want to say Chronically Online, good dude. I like his channel. I've been on it a few times with him.
Well, Chronically Online, I will admit I have not heard of your channel, but I will check it out and subscribe after this stream. And shoot me an email, man, or message me on Twitter. Twitter works as well because I check Twitter regularly because I got the app on my phone and stuff. So it's very easy to do. So if you guys need to contact me, Twitter or the email. Also, too, it's Chad. I'm going to do more of these collector streams just to have fun and hang out. I'd like to have you on next time, dude. I didn't realize that you had your stream with Michael from Retro Blasting today, or else I would have done this another time. But I'd like to get you on as well and talk some toys and stuff. So we're glad to have you here in the chat.
Chad, I'm not a big fan of him, though. Don't like him at all.
Okay.
Yeah, we're enemies. IRL.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Our friend ZombieBox Reviews sends in a super sticker. Thank you, ZombieBox Reviews. Nice to hear from you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Now, this is my... he's a friend of the channel, but he's my real-life friend, and he's like my toy guy. He sent me the Indiana Jones Lego set as a gift, the one with the airplane from Last Crusade.
Oh, yeah.
He sent my mom a Barbie from the Barbie movie. Enrique is an awesome dude. He says, hello, Jeff, LaserPants, and Jeremy. I collect Legos, primarily Star Wars, and have the UCS Millennium Falcon, Star Destroyer, and Razor Crest. Too much.
Yeah, those Lego sets are awesome, and those are huge and hugely expensive. So, Enrique, good job.
His was a continuation message. It said, I spent too much money on them. LaserPants, where did you get the display shelves behind you? Random button, please. So where did you get those shelves? You have a great setup. I'm very envious.
Oh, thanks. No, those are just IKEA Detolfs.
Okay.
I got most of them, when they were relatively inexpensive. I think they were like $75. They've recently gone up to $130 a piece now.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, and for IKEA furniture, that's kind of a lot.
Oh, I know. I furnished my old apartment out west with a lot of IKEA stuff, so
yeah.
We dropped a couple G's at IKEA. Now, Enrique, you requested a button. Well, here's a button for you.
That's good.
Poor old Stormtrooper. I have another one with a Wilhelm scream, but I didn't know which one that was. Lester San Jose, what is up? He says, what a panel. Why do I perceive figures aren't being marketed well? Have we lost the art of play and imagination? Yes. there's the products that sell themselves. However, how much of that play role, how much of that plays a role where the toys are niche? Thanks. What would you say to this?
Well, as far as action figures go, I feel like marketing is not happening outside of YouTube. Like, as far as Hasbro goes, they just rely on YouTubers to market their products to other adult collectors. I really don't see ads or commercials on television for action figure toys ever. Do you?
I see them, but not on television. So
where do you see them?
So Amazon, for example, a lot of these companies, like I'm thinking about getting the Spin Masters remote control Batmobile. They have a full commercial about that. And then I've seen other toy lines that will have like full commercials like you would see on TV back in the day, but they're only on their website or their YouTube channel. I guess they produce them in-house because they're cheap, but they never take them out there and do anything with them because, I know what advertising costs. So, Lester, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like we don't have centralized entertainment anymore. It used to be like Saturday mornings. Well, all the kids are going to watch cartoons, so you're going to market the cereals, the toys, and the video games. Nowadays, like kids are on TikTok, this and that, and I don't think the toy buying audience is on those social media platforms. Like in terms of like the kids, they're either too young or if they're on social media, they're not into toys anymore. And I don't really need commercials for toys as a collector because it's like X-Men 97's coming out, and I'm very interested in getting some of those figures, but like I just need to see a picture of them and go, I'll buy it. Like I just kind of need to see what it looks like, but I wouldn't mind commercials. I would still have fun if I saw like a giant sentinel bust through the wall and all this shit. So,
Well, he says that we lost the art of plain imagination. So I feel like they need to focus on kids more, right? Otherwise, with what millennials, are toys done? Is toy collecting done? I don't know. I just don't feel like they're being marketed to kids properly, and also they're not like really innovating the way they did when we were kids in the 80s and 90s. And also, I think we have lost some play and imagination because kids are zoned into these amazing video games, and they have an iPad or a TV with everything they could ever want to watch at the tip of their fingers at all times. It's hard to compete with that when it comes to toys. So, toy industry is in a weird spot. I don't know.
It is. I think the toy industry is for guys like us and the little kids that, would buy other types of toys that, are too young. Like, for example, my cousin has a couple of kids, and the one's 2 and the other's 6. And the 2-year-old obviously is too young for electronics and stuff, but the 6-year-old's on that weird cusp of like, he likes Minecraft stuff, but he plays it, but he still wants the physical stuff. So the little figures, the shirts, the whatever, that sword thing they use. I just don't think there's, like, we just grew up in the era where technology was trying to do a lot, and now it can do all the things it was trying to do, so the physical is not as important. And I'm not saying this is somebody that's excited about this. Believe me, this is just me going, I think this is the inevitability in the future that we live in. So,
yeah, and there is Lego, and I think Lego still does a good job of getting the kids involved. But brands like Hasbro and Mattel, they're collector brands now.
Yeah. V Conley, thank you very much. He says, building more furniture for the new place. We'll watch the playback.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you. That's a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for the message, and hopefully your new place is suiting you well. It's Chad. Thank you very much. We read your I'm Finally Here, but he sent in another one that says, Ryan is my Toy Con side piece. Don't believe his lies. He loves me.
I do. In fact. There we go. Yeah, that's all I'll play. I don't want to get you a copyright claim.
Thank you. I get the weirdest copy claims, and it slowed us down. Like, we were on a big trajectory for a couple months, and then all of our streams got hit with stuff, and YouTube's like, no, this channel shouldn't be watched. Like, come on.
That yellow dollar sign, right?
I know, right? Almost
I
every
get that
show.
all the time.
It's crazy. But you know what? I'm never going to give up on this. We're going to 10 million. That's when I'll tap out.
Yeah.
Once I reach that goal, actually just cash out. That's what I'll do. TLJ Screwjob says, whoa, double Jeffs. Awesome. Catch the stream later. Well, TLJ Screwjob, you've reached the end of the stream, but thank you for joining us. Now, folks, I keep telling you I wanted to go on camera and do more stuff. I can't really talk about toys without showing stuff, so that's why I wanted to show, Sala and Spider-Man and I'm going to do this for a quick second because my microphone's on these, but I got these VHS Spider-Man sets, I did go for those because I'm a sucker for Aunt May, and the fact that they actually made an Aunt May figure. Yeah. And I always, those Hasbro polls, what figure do you want the most? I always write Aunt May. And so when they made it, I bought it.
Yeah, so I saw that at PowerCon, and a vendor had it for, I think, retail price. So, yeah, I did pick up that 2-pack.
My 2-pack of Spider-Man and Alistair Smythe is on the way. I got an email from Hasbro that it's left the building. So,
nice.
For the most part, I'm committing to all of the Spider-Man stuff. Other than that, no. So, we've reached the end of our show tonight, folks. LaserPants, it's been a blast. I mean, we've streamed before multiple times. But tell everyone where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me over on YouTube on the 3POA podcast channel every other Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and on the Loose But Complete show on that same channel, Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I would love it if some of your audience came over because you guys have one of the funniest chats on YouTube. I love the World Class Bullshitters chat.
They're great people. I love reading the chat. That's why it works better when I'm not on camera, because I can stare at the screen and read the chat and chuckle and all this stuff. But I think Andrew, Caffeinated Wolf, my co-host for the High Council, are we going to be on camera for the High Council now? Should this be the setup? Is this decent enough? I'm operating on my cell phone and this. That's why I have two me, because the cell phone audio sucks, but this microphone's okay. So that's why it's as weird as it is. But, folks, I'll be back tomorrow with a new video. It's already done. I'm going to upload it tonight and get a good night's rest. The podcast is tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you join us. We really don't have a topic yet, but the thing is, WCBS, we don't need a weekly topic. You guys come, bring us the topics, we'll have fun. We'll have our games, our box office predictions, and a whole lot more. Plus, we're going to be joined by a guest because Nick is off on location in New York City, which would be that way. Nick's in New York City, so check out our Instagram. He went to the Ghostbusters Firehouse today. It's all part of our Wokebusters plan, so just follow us everywhere to learn more about that. But I'll be back next time with more. By the way, folks, this episode has been brought to you by StealingSolo.com. Go to the website to get the graphic novel. This is what it looks like here in person. It's a beautiful book. It's full color. It's got all these awesome illustrations of the podcast guys and we're even turned into action figures on the back. Because while I am not a toy company, I do have dreams of making my own toys. And so until then, I'll just draw them. So
I will vouch for the Stealing Solo comic book. I have 2 copies, and it's a lot of fun.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun to make. And folks, once that's done, or once you get that, Wokebusters will be on its way to you. And then I got a whole lot of stuff planned. But keep watching WCBS to find out more. So folks, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.